Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome to STARCASTERS, the number one best, coolest Star Wars Legends podcast on YouTube, bar none. We have a very, very exciting episode today because happy May 4th to everybody. Official International Star Wars Day for nerds and geeks all around, just like us. We're going to be talking about our hopes for the future of the IP, our fears for the future of the IP, what we're feeling about some of the more recent projects, and of course, as always, this channel is affiliated with TheorySabers.com. Use code EvanPrince to get 10% off of any of your purchases on the website, including merchandise. This is my Jyn replica that I just got in from TheorySabers.com. Looks beautiful, feels great to hold. So go check out the website. I'm here with my co-hosts, Gabriel and Jular, and let's let Jular kick things off. What do you have to say about May 4th today, Jular?
Not caught me off guard there. Well, I can say that I was happy to have nearly finished Maul today. I basically binged it most of the day after I got home in the afternoon, so that's how I was celebrating it, really. Just a bunch of Star Wars. Wanting to rewatch, actually, the original trilogy. That was on my cards, but I just didn't have time to do it this weekend, but that's something I'm going to be doing this week to kind of celebrate the date.
Let's go. Gabriel, how about yourself?
Well, I did manage to binge all of Maul Shadow Lord because luckily I was off today, so it was bank holiday Monday. So I did episodes 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 all in one go.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I also finished Maul Shadow Lord. I watched it last night right before I went to sleep, so I'm caught up. You're caught up. Jular, you said you read synopsis, so you know what happened. You wouldn't spoil
Basically,
it for
yeah.
yourself,
I
but,
finished episode 8 just now, and then I went to spoil it just so I'd be ready for this show. Not really surprised by the end, and I feel like by episode 8, they were alluding to where it was going to go.
Yeah. I feel like everybody already should know this by now, but spoilers for Maul Shadow Lord. We'll go ahead and knock a discussion out of the way for that. Then we'll move on to future incoming projects that we're excited about, things that we're a little bit wary about, the future of the IP, Dave Filoni taking over, all those kinds of things. Potential video game releases and stuff. I have some things to say on that, but spoiler warning, we should only be talking about Maul Shadow Lord for about 5 minutes, but we're going to spoil it. So if you haven't seen it, it's on Disney Plus, go watch it. All right. Gabriel, let's start with you since you finished it. After having watched Star Wars Maul Shadow Lord, what are your thoughts about the series?
I would say that, I'll get negatives out of the way before going to positives. It was quite predictable and safe and a bit fan servicey, and it was what I expected. But I think what elevated it beyond that for me was the incredible animation. You know, the action was great, amazing sound design, and I really liked Maul and Devon. I really liked them too. I did not care for Devon's master. I didn't care for that. I didn't care for him. I didn't care for the Lawson fella. Didn't really like him at all. But luckily, the story ended up being worth sticking with. And I think the last few episodes, especially from episode 5, 6 onwards, was really good. It was the first 4 episodes or so that didn't particularly interest me, but it picks up and it ends up being really worth it. I just love the way it looks. I mean, the lightsabers, the little, it's almost like it's sizzling, which I really like.
And the trails behind them as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love it. And that ended up being really worth it. I didn't think it was the most spectacular thing I've ever seen, but I didn't think it was that bad either. So that says a lot. I mean, we are all very critical of Disney content with Star Wars a lot of the time, and I thought that was just some good fun. I think it's more of a positive sign for Filoni going forward, that as much as I have a lot of issues with him, and I do think he can lean a lot into fan service and enjoying his favorite characters a bit too much, he can make some good fun stuff. So I'd rather him in charge than somebody that doesn't care about Star Wars. So
Here.
I think that's what a good sign.
Actively trying to kill it, so that's always good.
Yeah.
Even if I think this show definitely
yeah.
played it safe. This was very much almost to say get the fans back on our side kind of show. You definitely get that feel. But
it's
I'm not against that because
it
it needed to happen.
It's what they were attempting to do with The Force Awakens, I think, but on a better level. You know, the whole, this will begin to set things right. I think they accomplished that much more here. In that, I reckon they've probably appealed. They've appealed to us that aren't really Clone Wars fans, but the Clone Wars fans. But they've probably got a lot of the Clone Wars fans back in making this. So I reckon the idea, I guess, was to try, get some interest back. And I think it's worked really well for Filoni in that this is probably going to be a really good sign for him going forward. And again, like I said, we are Filoni skeptics, but it's made us think, he could do a pretty good job. So I feel like that's pretty good, really.
Yeah, that's the thing that I like, is I feel like they finally nailed the tone, because Clone Wars, it's a common fan thing being like, oh, people say this is a kid's show, but there's like this dismemberment and stuff like that. But it's still definitely a kid's show. Like, you'll go through 5 episodes of like, this is for 5-year-olds, and then they'll chop off someone's arm. They'll be like, oh, it's actually for adults. Whereas like, I feel like the tone in this show was definitely
I think
for,
Maul
had
it still had some like eye-rolling humor, but it was like the occasional moment of, there'd be like a few times in an episode where I'd be like, oh, that's for the kids, that joke. But the actual story content would be more interesting and engaging.
That's also Star Wars, even since episode 4, there's always had that little bit of like aim for the kids. R2-D2 is just comic relief. Him, the droids are comic relief, and they've kept that exactly the same. It is the droids in this show that are playing that role. So I wasn't totally against it. Like, me and Evan, I think, discussed when we previously talked about Maul, how they have now given all the droids, they all speak basic to basically play that role, which I think is a bit weird from a lore perspective, but it works for what they're trying to go for. What you were saying there about Daki, I totally agree with as well. Like, Daki as a character kind of sucked, but I feel like that's his role, is to be like, it's to make Devon's like fall more believable, right? Like Daki sucks. Like, even if we hate him, then think what Devon thinks of him.
Yeah, I think we could all see where his story was going, really, and he didn't really have much interest in. I think what I did like that surprised me, I thought that we were just going to make him like a bit of a weak old man at the beginning. I did like that he was a good fighter and that he was, quite a strong guy.
But he did definitely have that side to him. Like, he got essentially almost mortally wounded from like a 6-foot drop. Like, that's like, that was the fight in like episode 3. Like, Maul, I think, kicks him off an edge, and it's not that far, and then he's suddenly like, oh, I'm crippled now for the next 2-3 episodes. So I think that's the highlight. Like, he is old
mechanical
and weak.
Leg.
Yeah, I guess that's what they're trying to show. Yeah,
that mechanical.
And there's a weak, frail old man's body.
Yeah, that was my overall opinion of the show, I think, is probably pretty similar. I may even say that I'm more positive about it than the two of you, but I don't really have a problem. People think that I want Star Wars to be like adult and edgy. I actually don't. I mean, I want more of that to be available, but ultimately
it can coexist.
I want it to be taken seriously. I want it to take itself seriously. That doesn't mean I need to see impalements and murder and edge. It just means I don't want you to be winking at the camera like, this is dumb. This is stupid, right? We're just doing this to make money off of idiots. That's what I don't want. And I feel like a lot of the Disney material was like that. It was like, here's your super expensive CGI effects, but this is dumb, and we all acknowledge this is dumb nerd stuff, right? I'm like, why are you contributing to the universe then? You're just trying to make money. So one thing I'll say about Shadow Lord is it's the first Disney product they put out where I didn't feel any of that. I didn't feel any of that anywhere. It's probably because Filoni is himself a nerd, as is Sam Witwer. So those two being in a creative control situation regarding this makes the show feel significantly more sincere, significantly more real. I didn't mind the humor, the droid speaking basic, a little bit lore breaking, but it's you can kind of overlook it because it is just for that's something Lucas would do, is be like, no, they speak basic now.
They speak basic now, yeah.
It's the most George Lucas Star Wars product that I think we've seen since the buyout. And if this exact thing released as it is in like 2006, amid the EU stuff, I would have you couldn't have told me otherwise. I'd be like, yeah, of course, this is EU. Because it feels like that. It has a little bit of charm, a little bit of comedy. It takes itself seriously. It's obsessed with like the Jedi and the Sith. So I like all of that a lot. I like the characterization of Maul for the most part. I like that he's a little bit more emotional. I like a lot of people had a problem that he cries in like episode, is it 8 that he cries? He gets like his vision.
Yeah, it's either 8 or 7. Yeah.
It's one of those two. Yeah, I like that as well. I was like, well, of course you do.
Yeah.
Sith are emotional. They're not
That's
like
that's a dark side thing. Yeah.
they're not like
Yeah, I
badass.
like
mean,
as
are we
well that they
are
sort
we
of went
pretending
out
that
of their
Vader
way
does? I
to.
think Vader cries like persistently. Like I'm sure a lot of the time he's alone in his
Yeah.
chamber, he's crying. Like that's a
Yeah.
lot of.
But you know,
That's his main
it's like
thing.
Evan said, the Sith are like the most emotional, melodramatic people imaginable. You know, these are the
Yeah.
most, and it's good, the most edgy, the most emotional.
Angsty.
They crying all the time. They go from sobbing to screaming, and it's like the full intensity and range all the time. I like one of the things I liked about Maul in this was actually it's sort of the move away from Sith into something different. You know, we get the
Dark
idea
Jedi.
that he kind of respects. You know, I honestly believe as much as he sort of lets that Jedi Master die, that he does respect him in a way. He just was more willing to let him die for his own goals.
I got that
Because he's
feeling,
still a bit
yeah.
of a selfish guy, but I still I believed him when he said that he respected him and that he was a Jedi Master. You know, I believe that respect.
Well, after
Yeah, Maul has a
seeing what
lot
happened
of
to the
respect. I
Jedi.
mean, that's why he doesn't just reveal that Palpatine's a Sith Lord, even though he can now, right? Like I think he still respects his master. He still respects the Sith's plan. Like he doesn't want to just like I could completely ruin this right now.
Yeah.
So
One thing.
yeah,
One thing
he's very
we.
loyal in that regard.
One thing I think we have to talk about, and there are certain people. There are certain people in like the creative industry like this who cannot stand the topic I'm about to bring up, and there's certain people who live and die by it, and that is power scaling. And the power scaling in this show makes no sense at all. And if you guys could just, I'm going to take a little free reign here to just be insufferable about it for a second. The two Inquisitors that are like the main antagonists of this show are like going head to head with Maul and like pushing him back. But both of them are dispatched in less than 30 seconds by Ahsoka. But Maul goes head to head with Ahsoka, and they're like evenly matched like 1 year before this show takes place. That doesn't make any sense to me. Maul should be at a power level significantly above what these Inquisitors are capable of. And then likewise, Maul can't handle both of the Inquisitors at once at one point, and they kind of play it off like maybe it's his leg being damaged, but he's struggling. Then in the last episode, you didn't see this, Jular, but Devin is taking on both Inquisitors at once by herself, while just for a short period, but she is, while Daki and Maul are taking on Vader. And then Maul is kind of holding his own against Vader, but the power scaling there makes no sense because Maul was getting destroyed by the Inquisitors. So like what is going on? I can't tell who is more powerful than who at any given moment. Like the Maul, how capable Maul is seems to increase and decrease purely based on what they wanted the plot to be per episode. And that was kind of throwing me off to a large degree. Although I will admit, I hate that both of these Inquisitor characters have been introduced just to be killed right after already by Ahsoka, because they're so cool in this show. They just walk around aura farming the whole time. Like the Crow guy, I'm like, dude, if I was younger and I saw this, I would want to be like cosplaying as that guy, as like at like a con. But we see him get like one shot by Ahsoka in, what is it, Tales of the Jedi, where she like dodges two moves, grabs his lightsaber, steals it, and kills him. I don't know. It was really throwing me for a loop. Do you guys have any thoughts about the?
No, there's definitely issues there. What I will say to defend the show, but this is based purely on like behind the scenes stuff I've seen, was that when they approached the show, they were trying to approach the angle. And you get this in the story that Maul is like starting from the bottom again, right? He's meant to start the show like this is almost the weakest he's been in a long time. Like he feels betrayed by everyone, and I feel like maybe they're trying to show that, and they just dropped the ball because you don't get that progression of like, hey, Maul's coming back. You kind of, that's like what they're going for, but you don't see it, you don't feel it. So maybe that's where the power scaling just feels completely off. Like that was an idea they had when they were writing it, and they just failed to deliver that like showing it properly.
Yeah, it's hard because you can tell they're trying to make him feel menacing when he's around like non-force users, because in the first couple episodes he's like aura farming and looking really powerful, and Devin he's like playing with Devin as if she has no capability next to him. Makes sense. She's a Padawan. But then near the end of the show, Devin's taken on both Inquisitors at once, and Maul is... It just doesn't make sense. Like, it would have made sense if they had shown, like, his leg gear was, like, busted. He was demoralized.
Because it's a little busted, isn't it? Like, Daki kind of broke it in, like,
smacks his
episode
knee.
3 or 4.
She kicks his knee.
Mm-hmm. Well, the only thing I could think of is maybe it's to show that like why he's taking Devon on as an apprentice. You know, they're building her up as a new cool character.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting Darth Talon, you know, one way whether we like it or not. Like
A different
they're
iteration.
forcing in, yeah, they're forcing in an iteration of it, and maybe that's just to show like, hey, Devon's actually really powerful. And I mean, it also shows it's the whole dark side thing, right? Like now that she's using the dark side, she's more powerful than she was trying to use the light side and failing against Maul. Although a
Mm-hmm.
lot of her failure against Maul, I think, in the earlier scenes is that you know, she fears him. She knows what he is, and maybe he actually isn't that at that point. I think they should have tried to show that Maul is using his menace to kind of cover the fact that maybe he's not all there power wise yet.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it.
They
That's a
didn't
good shot.
succeed in that, but like you know, possibly just knowing the behind the scenes of what like Whitwer has said, what they were trying to do with Maul's character, maybe that's what they were trying to do, but they you know you don't get that feel.
They succeeded on that with like his like his influence type of power. Like he's gaining
Mm,
his power structure with the pikes, and then he's gonna go after Crimson Dawn, and of course, Paul Bettany's character from Solo is in the last couple of episodes,
yeah,
which was funny because they made him look like him. I thought that was amusing.
yeah.
Um, what about Vader? What do you guys think about? Julia, you hadn't seen it yet, but Gabriel, what do you think about
No.
Vader's inclusion?
Very predictable and definitely almost a tip too much for me into fan service. But I thought it was fun to see. I just feel like Disney does this a lot in all sorts of products. It happens in Fallen Order. It happens in it happened in Rogue One. It happens over and over where like Vader shows up at the end, does some fighting, and then sort of stands as they leave going.
That
And that's
does
like it's
keep
like the
happening
same
a lot.
thing every single time. But the thing is, I suppose it's fun to watch him do it. One thing I liked is that he didn't say a single line. I thought
Yeah,
that was good.
that was
I
brilliant.
thought that was a good detail.
I
Yeah,
kept waiting for him to say something, and then he didn't. And I was like, oh, that's. I'm really glad that he didn't have a
yeah,
single line in the entire show. He just
yeah. I
is
really
there
like
at one
that. Yeah,
point.
yeah.
There's
I thought
a.
that was good.
They do keep doing this thing where he shows up, fights, and they keep and it's always they drop things on top of him, is what it is. They're always dropping things on,
Yeah.
and it always seems to work. But
Happens in Rebels. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it
I mean,
does.
it's
Yeah.
that's
proof
what
that
happens at
that's his
Rebels. Yeah,
weakness. You
they
know.
drop all that stuff on him, and he goes like,
Yeah.
"Whoa," and picks it back up.
I think they do that in
They're just
Fallen Order.
consistently saying like, "Hey, this is his number one weakness: is just drop things on Vader, and you'll
Why didn't
succeed."
Obi-Wan try that? Obi-Wan
I
could have
know.
known that.
That's because
Yeah.
Obi-Wan
I
has
mean,
the
he
skill
should
to
have known it
predict.
because Vader did it to Obi-Wan, like in the Obi-Wan show. So like, he should have known, like, hey, this is the
Yeah.
strategy that works.
Yeah, it works. I
Yeah.
I
like
thought
to
that his he was animated very well. I thought.
Yeah, well, everything was
and
animated really well.
there was like an intention, like a performance to the way he was animated. There's the comment. I mean, it's said all the time. This is nothing new to the conversation, but the whole thing of him starting off with one hand and then when it gets more serious, using two on the lightsaber. I thought they did that well, but like you could tell when he wasn't taking them seriously, and I almost got the impression like he was never really taking them very seriously, like the whole time. And then they sort of get away, and he's like, "Shit, I should have done a bit more there."
Yeah, I always like to, in the back of my head, wonder, it's like, is he sizing any of them up to see if he can force them into being Inquisitors, you know? Because there's a scene that I really liked where Devin, like, rounds a corner, and then he, like, flips out of nowhere and, like, knocks her down, where it's like, he could have killed her there, but it looks like he chose not to. Is he thinking, like, could I make you an Inquisitor? Because, I could lose some Inquisitors here. Like, do I need to be... Like, if I lose one of these two, do I need to be looking for a replacement? Here is a young Padawan who can use the Force. That's just me justifying the choices of the show. But
Yeah, I think as well. There's an element to him maybe just having a good time. Like I honestly think there's a part of him that's like because it's been a little bit since the Clone Wars ended. Now I'm sure he's took out a lot of the Jedi, where he's thinking, oh, finally, something interesting to do.
one thing I have to say, first off, I have not enjoyed a Disney product as much as this one. Like, this is easily my favorite Disney product from in the Star Wars universe. But one thing I went back and I watched some of the fight scenes from the Clone Wars and from Rebels, and the difference in the choreography and the quality is staggering. Like, you see them bouncing around everywhere in Maul Shadow Lord, and you're like, wow, this is cool. But if you go look at any of the fights in Rebels, you're like, this looks bad in comparison. Like, they stepped up their choreography game for this show
I was wondering,
significantly.
are they is it like live action? You know when they do live action like reference, is that the case
Mocap,
in
like.
yeah, mocap?
It's
Because I know they
yeah.
did that for Maul's fight against Obi-Wan in Rebels. That's why that's kind of held as like one of the better fights in the show, even though it's extremely short. It was one of the things I think they actually mocapped
They did it
for the
with
show.
Ahsoka and Maul in season 7 of the Clone Wars. That's what they
Mm,
did for that fight. But
yeah.
I found
So
that actually a little bit. I thought they didn't do the best job of that because I think it looks so smooth, and then everything else in that
compared to the
season
rest of the
doesn't look
show.
anywhere near as smooth. So it jumps out. While whatever they were doing in this in Maul Shadow Lord, it all fit really well. I thought like it all looked.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
You
sure
know,
To
all of it
me,
was
it
put
choreographed
looked
together.
like
yeah. To me,
mocap.
it looked like mocapped. Especially because like Maul was doing the one-handed thing as well when he was first like playing with Devon, and that felt like with the kicks and everything, it felt very mocapped compared to like if you watch a fight in Clone Wars. It is more, you know, you can see the animation style of like, okay, we go to this animation, and now they move to this animation, and now they move to this animation. It didn't
Yeah.
have that kind of robotic feel to it.
It was much smoother, and I think there's a lot of lightsaber fights. I think almost all of the lightsaber fights in the show are either like 2-on-1 or 2-on-2, or at the end it's there's two-on-ones happening that kind of intersect against each other. Like this is some of the most complex like choreography I think we've seen, because there's one particular scene in episode 9, and they freeze on it for just a little longer than the others, where it's the two Inquisitors versus Maul, Devon, and Daki, and all of them get caught in like one lock where all of their blades are intersecting. And they don't like marvel it where they hold on it like slow motion. It just happens, and they pause for like a split second where you can visually see all of these characters have locked blades in some way, and then it goes back to the fight. It was just super impressive. Like this is like the type of stuff that we were seeing in the prequels, I think, in terms of fighting.
I really like
Yeah,
that.
I think
like
that's part of why
that
the action
Maul's
works so well.
lightsaber. I forgot that Maul's lightsaber is 2. I
Yeah.
don't know why I forgot that, but obviously you'll see that in Plagueis eventually when they talk about that compared to Exar Kun's, which is 1. But I'd forgot that like when he sort of splits it in half and uses 2 at the same time, and then at one point he gives 1 to Devon. He does that a lot, giving 1 to Devon and stuff like that. But I thought I really liked the variety, like they thought of loads of different ways to change up the fights. So it wasn't. I mean, I could just watch. I know I love lightsaber fights. I love reading them. I love watching them. It's always my
too.
favorite. I can watch over and over and over. I could do a whole show of lightsaber fights. I could read as well. It's always my favorite bit in the books. But I appreciated that they were all a little bit different in some way. That there was something a little bit different about each one that kept it fresh.
I also there is a scene at the end of the lightsaber fight in episode 9. After Maul has crossed the toxic waste, his lightsabers are still split, and he has them the other way around, and he strikes the exact Starkiller pose from Force Unleashed, like where he like is standing there with blades behind him, and he's like looking over his shoulder. It's the exact pose. There's so many Force Unleashed like callbacks in this show. It's really funny if you're like looking for them. They're everywhere.
Yeah, we started getting them was it in the Mandalorian like season 3 where they had wasn't his armor or something like that. There was a reference in one of the museum like areas
It was
they
in
visited
Andor.
his
His like
Andor,
helmet
that was it,
in
yeah.
Andor, but they added like a little something to it, so it wasn't exactly the same. But the
Yeah,
helmet design
yeah.
was like exactly the same.
But
they also
they've
had
done
the
a lot more recently, haven't
Rakatan.
they?
Yeah, they had like
Yeah.
Rakatan stuff in Andor as well.
Yeah, this episode is saturated in it though. At some point, just do something with the game, then like what? Stop this.
At the least, like imagine if they remade it or something like that. Like I think that would be like
A
remastered
solid
it or
remake
something.
or something. It doesn't really
Yeah.
need a remaster.
It's one of those games that
It doesn't, but
I think it's one of the easier games to remaster because it's already there in terms of like the actual 3D fidelity is solid. It just needs like some new texture work, some new lighting, and like you could definitely re-release that. Like it would be one of those remasters of like this is a lazy remaster, but also like it doesn't need a full remake. It's not at that level. A full remake, I would say like what a waste of money. Like it wasn't that bad.
My only worry with a
remake
would be first of all it would change the gameplay because I feel like it's kind of integral, and then the my main concern would be the physics. I don't know if they could. You don't get any games now coming out of the physics as good as the Force Unleashed.
Yeah.
Like you just
Force Unleashed is the only game that has that physics system in it. It's I forgot what it's called, but it was a bespoke physics system that's really expensive
It was
to
designed
license
for
and implement.
Indiana Jones game that they stopped, wasn't it? That was it the Staff of Kings that we
Yeah, and
only got
it
on
was
like
designed
PS2?
for Hollywood as well. Before like everything started using Unreal Engine for like all their 3D work, it was specifically made for like Hollywood kind of features and physics.
Yeah.
It
But
does look
they pretty much
cool.
dropped it by the second game as well because it was so time
Oh yeah, it's so
consuming to implement.
I don't know if you guys have ever seen that Clicks Phillip guy, but he's recently really
Yeah,
got
he's just
into
done it, hasn't he?
he's recently got really into The Force Unleashed, and he hated 2. And he was saying he's not that bothered about the story, he's not even that bothered
No,
about
he
gameplay,
only
he just
cares about the
loves the
physics.
physics. Yeah, he
Yeah.
loves it, and he goes through and tries to destroy everything, and he did like a comparison between like levels in the second game and the first game, and trying to destroy the same objects. And in the first game, they all destroy in unique and interesting ways, and you can do it, and it's never exactly the same. And in the second game, like you can't even destroy some things. Like there's just nothing that can be done. They definitely, I think it was just very rushed, obviously.
The first.
Well,
game
yeah,
was
I think
different.
they made the second game in 7 months because the
Yeah.
the idea was like, hey, you've done it, you've done all the tech in the first game, just like throw some levels together. And it turns out that's not it's not as easy as that.
That
when
doesn't
they
make a
spent
good
like
game.
yeah.
LucasArts was notorious for that, though. LucasArts, because
Yeah.
I've been doing I have done a lot of Star Wars like game retrospectives, and one of the things that I figured out really quickly is that LucasArts, both with their own internal teams and when they licensed out to others, would be like, "Can you make this happen in like 10 months?" And the people would be like, "Star Wars, so I guess yes." But like clearly not. That's why you have so many Star Wars games that are like 4 hours long, because LucasArts would be like, faster, make it happen. Let's go. Let's go. It's really annoying because a lot of these games could have been even better, but they were rushing them all the time. That's why Battlefront 3 got canceled, because they were rushing the hell out of that game.
Yeah. And yeah, like on Battlefront 3 as well, like they definitely could have rushed it if they'd used the same developers as Battlefront 1 and 2, because at least there was an engine they could work with that they could probably upgrade for, the 7th gen.
Yeah,
but by going to completely new devs and being like, hey, can you do what these guys did, but build the whole new engine and get it all running? And
In, like,
obviously
10
people are going to
months.
say yes because they need work. Yeah.
And it's Star
So-
Wars, but yeah, as for Force Unleashed, I just played through that game in like, I want to say November or October, and I played through the whole thing. I think I played through it 3 times because I was getting a bunch of footage, because at some point I'm going to do a video on it. There's nothing to touch on that game. It's already basically perfect. So like you said, Jular, the only thing you could do is like make it look nicer. Give it like a Halo Combat Evolved, where you just make all the graphics and models look up to date.
Or
something.
maybe like release a version that's like the like PC and Xbox 360 version, and then add in all the content from the other versions, like the
Oh,
Wii
yeah, that's
version,
one thing they
PS2
could
and stuff
do
like
is
that. That would
add
be
in the
really good.
PS2
Yeah.
content. Yeah.
You could do that. But ultimately, I think what I'd rather see is I would rather them just like do so, because that's like the expanded universe version of that story, and it's fine. I would rather see them like bring Galen Merrick into the Disney canon in some capacity, while Sam Witwer could still do it, because he's already in like his like late 40s, early 50s. How old
Yeah.
is he? Do we know?
Well, we can pivot then to our hopes and fears, and I guess that's one of my fears is that they will finally bring Starkiller in. I mean, Sam Witwer has been teasing like he's totally down to do it. He'll shave his head tomorrow if they actually get it going.
Okay, he's
But like,
48.
if they fit that into if they were to fit it into Disney canon, are they gonna be like, hey, here's Inquisitor Starkiller? That's what everyone wanted, right? Aren't you so happy? Here he is.
Well, my hope would be he's brought in post Revenge of the Sith, so it wouldn't be Inquisitor Starkiller.
They could bring him in they bring him in the game. I think that would still totally fit. Like Vader finds him, because I think the Force Unleashed opens like it's only a few weeks after Episode 3, right? Like Vader can't walk right yet, so it's very like you just do it like that. You just be like, hey, he found a new apprentice immediately.
In the sort of like last gen versions, it's clone troopers that he's with.
Yeah,
There's
it's
still
the
got
501st.
Clone
armor.
Stormtroopers. Yeah.
So I'll tell you, like, here's an example of what I would like to see, just to touch on it, because you could be like, that happened. Galen Merrick was brought in. Darth Vader trained him. Then you could say, instead of the events of The Force Unleashed playing out, he got too powerful, he got too unruly, and Darth Vader like froze him in carbonite or something. And then he is like found and like thawed. But we're still in post Return of the Jedi era. I'm just really tired of things being set between 3
so-
and 4, personally.
But it's a shame because I feel like Starkiller's arc against Vader like needs to happen. And if you kind of do like, oh, he's frozen in carbonite and he's found after Vader's dead,
Who would
that
he
kind of
fight?
like that, yeah, that takes away
not
like
sure
a
he'd
lot
be
of his
bothered.
character. That's his arc like gone, isn't it? That's the problem.
Because, like, for example, I think if
you don't
if
you have it,
Starkiller
you don't
turned
have
up-
his redemption either.
Is it about a washing machine?
Yeah, I think if Starkiller turned up and, oh, it's the New Republic and Luke Skywalker, he'd sort of be like, oh, all right then, I'll go try, hopefully find my girlfriend, hopefully she's still alive, and I'll settle down. Like, I feel like that's what he'd want to do. Like, I don't actually feel like he would want to fight anybody, like, because he just wanted to fight Vader. He hated Vader, and that was it, really. So
Yeah. I feel like
Yeah, I reckon he'd be
you
alright.
can still fit the game's arc a little bit because you get Vader finds him immediately, and Vader at this point is still vengeful. Like I feel like Vader by Revenge of the Jedi is or Return of the Jedi, Return of the Jedi.
That's
is
the original
pretty
title.
Much, it's the original title, isn't it? He's pretty much given up. Like I don't think Vader's not trying to kill Palpatine every second by that point, but by a few weeks after becoming Vader, he definitely still has that drive, and that's why he would take on Galen Marek as an apprentice at that point, because he's not like as I mentioned, he's not giving up. I feel like you could still fit in all that kind of stuff because you don't need the Inquisitors in the game, and if you in his arc, he doesn't have to interact with the Inquisitors. If he's Vader's secret apprentice, he's already above them at in a power level as well as in like the authority level.
He wouldn't even interact with like Inquisitors or
exactly
like that very often because Vader would try to keep him away. I think the Force Unleashed is one of the few stories that I do actually think you could fit into canon quite easily.
Yeah, I still think
I
it
would
works.
want if you wanted to do it, this is what I would say do. Just do the Force Unleashed and don't do 2 and don't do anything from at the end of there. Have Starkiller die at the end and have that be the end of his story.
The whole clone thing. That is just, heir to the Empire. Like it is,
no
ridiculous. More, no more of that stupid clone stuff. Like
I had no idea. I had no idea how much people disliked The Force Unleashed 2, and I had no idea what it was like. So I loved 1, and then I thought, oh my god, there's a second one, great. And I played 2, and I was just appalled at the decline in quality, and the story is just awful. Yeah, but I think the Force Unleashed 1 ends so well. I think it ends so well, and I reckon you could just seriously plop it into canon, tweak a few things, and it would work pretty well.
The only thing I always change is him starting the Rebel Alliance or having a key role in the start of the Rebel Alliance.
Yeah. Just remove, take out the Rebel story. Really, just have him with I think you could make. I always thought in the EU. There's 2. I don't know why, but Vader invades Kashyyyk twice. I'm not really sure why that happens. What you could always do is what I always wanted. Say if you were to do something with Vader, which I feel like we get so much of. But the Vader novel by Lucino is so good. Dark Lord, and at the end he invades Kashyyyk to take all the Wookiees and. But obviously, there's another time he invades Kashyyyk and he takes Starkiller. You could always merge the 2 and have him invade Kashyyyk at the end of that story, and then take Starkiller, and that could be, a story with, Galen for the Force Unleashed.
Yeah,
but like I said, even you could just do the Force Unleashed. I reckon you
Starkiller
could just
doesn't
you could
need
make a
to
good
be
film out there.
A Padawan. He can just find a Force sensitive child. I don't really care how he finds Galen Marek, and I don't think he needs to be a Padawan. It was just convenient for the game to be like, hey, this is why he's here because Vader's hunting Jedi.
Yeah. You can't canonize the entirety of Force Unleashed 1, though, because Galen Marek dies at the end of that game.
Yeah.
So,
unless you go with a non-canon end. But then that's not a version of Starkiller we want ever, even. Because that would be... that would be an Inquisitor Starkiller, right? If they were bringing Inquisitor Starkiller, it would be the dark ending Starkiller.
Yeah.
And,
he looks way cooler.
I don't think he would be... I think if you did the dark side ending, he wouldn't be an Inquisitor. He'd take Vader's place, like he does in the game. Like when the alternate ending is that if he kills Vader, he sort of becomes Starkiller's apprentice.
But I feel like he's still not. We don't. There's not a lot of lore to work off. There's like the 3 expansion packs. I feel like he's not respected to that level by Palpatine.
Right. We have talked about this before. I think I brought it up once or twice on the podcast, but the popular theory is that Ahsoka season 2 is going all in on the Mortis stuff, and that Anakin is going to become the new father, and then Ahsoka will become the new daughter, and then Starkiller is going to be introduced in Ahsoka season 2 as Vader's secret apprentice to become the son, and it's going to be like the apprentice of Anakin and the apprentice of Vader, the two halves of Anakin, who is now the father, and that's going to be it. And then maybe they'll do Abeloth and the mother. I don't know if Filoni's going to do. I know, Gabriel, you said you're out if that happens, but that's the,
that's one of the many
theory
things.
is that Mortis is coming season 2, and Ahsoka is going to be. That's why Hayden Christensen's playing a huge role, because it's all evolving into that arc where Hayden Christensen comes back. He is going to become the new father in that regard. And that's where they'll introduce
I guess they approach it, and they go, depending on how well Galen Mark is received, will depend if he gets a show, I guess.
Yeah, probably. But it would definitely be, it would not be light side Jedi Galen Merrick. It would be dark side Inquisitor Galen Merrick. It would be Starkiller Merrick.
Yeah, still as an apprentice. Yeah, no arc has happened, basically.
Yeah.
When I think of
we just get the concept of the character.
So when I think of, I know, I think a lot of people who haven't played the game as well think of Starkiller like this. Like, I don't really think of Starkiller as like a villain at all. He's not like a good guy, but he's very much, his story is one of, turning away from Vader, and he's sort of considering embracing a Jedi path. And I feel like it would be, less of an interesting character if we just, made him a pure like dark side like villain type character, because I always liked his sort of semi-redemption, although he doesn't fully get redeemed.
He never felt like a proper apprentice anyway. Like he hates Vader, and I mean that's part of the Sith dynamic, is you have to hate your master to some degree, but he really hates Vader. There's like almost no respect there.
Enough that he sort of joins the rebellion, and he in the
like
cutscenes he has a blue lightsaber,
abandon Vader
for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't think I actually agree, and the only reason I say that is because we've already gotten that story of Starkiller, and we have too many Jedi. We have too many Jedi out there, and we don't have enough real dark side users, particularly post Return of the Jedi. Because in the Mandoverse era, you've got Ahsoka, Ezra, Sabine's running around now. You've got Luke is out there somewhere. You've got I assume you still have Cal Kestis. I assume he survives his way into after Return of the Jedi. So you've got. Am I missing any light side users there? Ahsoka, Sabine.
There will be the little girl in Jedi Survivor, because Cal picks up a little girl that
that's right.
We sort of get the implication they might train her.
Outside of Baylan Skoll and what's the
Shin
Hati? Outside of those two, who are our dark side users in this? Because the Mandoverse is the era right now. We're getting Mandalorian and Grogu. We're getting Ahsoka season 2. Like, this is the era. This is where we have to work, not counting Starfighter, which is coming out next year. So what we really need to be thinking about is this era, and we have no dark side users running around. I'm trying to figure out how can we get some more.
It depends how much they're willing to introduce sequel stuff, but there's probably versions of Snoke being made around this point. There's the Palpatine clones running around. Yeah, there's definitely some Palpatine clones getting made.
You guys know how I feel. I always like say if they wanted to tell a story of like a dark side character, I feel like it's lazy to just say, well, we've got these in these games and stuff like that, let's just take them. I'd rather them just like try to come up with a new character. Especially because I don't like the mentality. I know it's how they think of the EU, but I don't like the mentality of it. It's like, it's just this like all these stories that like if we ever run out of ideas, we can just say, I will take that guy and like do this with him. Because for me, you sort of lose the essence of what that character was all about and what the point of that story was all about. And like for me, like I see why you would feel the way you do about doing something different with Starkiller. For me, it's like, well, that's not Starkiller anymore, and it's not Galen Merrick anymore. And I would rather they just say, we want to do this. Why don't we just make a new character inspired by them and call them something else?
This is not going to happen. I mean, look at the way comic book movies work, where they never adapt a comic. That doesn't happen. They take ideas and look at Captain America: Civil War. That's not the Civil War arc. They like pluck things and take inspiration, and then they go with it. So they will never look at something and adapt it truly, nor will they ever look at something and leave it alone. They're going to take it.
I don't expect things to be
twist it.
adapted 100%, but I think you can do a better job, than we get a lot of the time. That's why I think I'm not a fan of a lot of adaptations. And my favorite example is always The Silence of the Lambs, which is like 100% adaptation of the novel. Like I can think of one thing that has changed. And I remember when I read the book afterwards, they even took all the dialogue from the book and barely even tweaked the dialogue. And it came out so well. And you don't always have to do that, especially like when we're talking like fantasy, it's so difficult to adapt 100%. And I don't expect everything to be adapted 100%, but for me, like when you take a character, if you have a character that from the EU that doesn't work in canon, for me, the way I feel about it is don't do that character, do someone else. Like if you want a character like Starkiller, but we're going to have to change them so much that they become a different character. For me, I'd rather we just have a new character that takes elements from that character. So you could have some similarities, but be a new character. Because you can look at them and say, I want them to do this and that from that character, but we want to do all these new things. The same way, they've not called Talon, it's Devon. It's very much a new character. Although they look like Talon, they might end up being Talon, but I'm not sure if they're even going to end up naming her that.
I won't be surprised if there's a
think
scene where he says "Rise, Darth Talon" in season 2.
I would be surprised. Honestly, I don't even think they're going to call her Talon. I don't think she's going to look anything like Talon ever did in the comics. Apart from the fact that the species and having the red lightsaber, I think that's the only similarities they're going to have.
But,
yeah, she might take the tattoos from Maul.
Talon didn't really have a whole lot of characteristics anyway, so it's like.
That's what I find weird about when they just pull random characters from EU, because a lot of them, I mean, they're more obscure than a comic book character, right? I feel like comic book characters, other than the very obscure ones, obviously, are generally are more well known, like because they're visual as well. So people will be like, "Oh, I recognize that guy. Like I've seen, he was in a Spider-Man comic that I read once." Whereas a random name plucked from a random book, they'll often be, you'll see the article being like, "Hey, this character from this book, back in the 80s is finally coming to the Disney Star Wars." And like, why have they picked that name?
Why you
like,
get that all the time,
yeah, that's why I agree with Gabe. Like, why don't they just make a new name? Why have you grabbed a random one from this book?
The worst part as well, it just clogs up Google. Like, if you want to search for that character, here we go, this one comes up. Oh, I want to read the Tales of the Jedi comics. The fucking cartoon instead comes up. Like I just don't like, honestly. But like I said, that I think we all have like the same perspective, but in different, different ways.
You'll go on Wikipedia and there'll be like 40,000 lines for like the EU, and then it'll go Disney, and it'll be like he was introduced as a side character in this show.
Yeah, I actually do agree with you, Evan. I just think, like, for me, I would rather they like change the name, or like don't have them be like the exact same character if they want to do something different with them. Because for me, like, there's a point when it stops being an adaptation and it becomes something else, inspired by
live action.
Which I don't mind.
Like live action Thrawn is like. He's like if you explain Thrawn to someone and then they wrote him, that's what live action Thrawn is.
That's probably what it is. That's not like what
that probably is what it is. Yeah,
actually what is happening. It's somebody explained to whoever is writing.
It's third person Thrawn. Like it's completely disconnected from the actual source material.
It's crazy, right? That Timothy Zahn said that he offered to give them advice on the character, and they said no.
They're like, nah, bro, we've got Wikipedia, we're sorted.
No, we've got it. We're sorted.
Yeah. They're like, okay, what? You're gonna write better than me? Yes, actually.
Yeah.
Because he's such a hard character, right? I mean, that's one, like, I understand, right? We have this conversation about not doing that with EU characters, right? I feel like there's some you can get away with. Again, Talon, but Thrawn's
not
all characters.
He's not one you can get away with.
Yeah, he's not one you could get away with. Well, I will say that Starkiller, right? As much as I say all this, he's not that deep of a character.
That's why I think you can get away with him. I don't think his. I
think
his
there's more
arc
chance.
Is very compelling, to be honest. I've never I think the Force Unleashed lives and dies on the fact that it's fun. I don't find Galen Merrick to be that compelling.
I would say it's like a
design and concept.
I would say the actual story is like a 6.5 out of 10 for me. Like, you enjoy it because it's fun, And
a solid
the
5.
0.5 is because it's good. Well, I think it's all right. It's just there's nothing to it, and I don't think there was supposed to be.
I would go as
to
far
it.
as say the story's a 5, because if you had the story with no game
Yeah,
attached to it,
that's
I
what I
think
said.
everyone would be like,
Yeah.
this sucks.
It's like,
yeah.
that's exactly what I'm saying. It's not.
Well, I need to read the novel and find out what
It's
it's
the
like.
same thing though. There's no addition or changes. The novel is just telling you what happens in the game, almost verbatim. There's really almost no point to read the novel. It's I don't think The Force Unleashed has a very, very good story. Its best parts are because it's like, wow, super cool Force user. That's where that story begins in it. And then you'll see like Shakti die for the 50th time. Like it's like cool. Sarlacc, that's neat. But the Galen Merrick's character is he's just proto Inquisitor. It's not that interesting.
It's definitely aesthetics over substance. I mean, a large part of that game's advertising was like, look how sick the 3D mocap is in this game. Like, you're gonna love the story because you're gonna be looking at it and be like, wow, this is almost real. Because this came out in like 2008, 2009. Like,
And
for
here's
that
the thing.
time.
There's no way they can
Super
adapt
impressive.
it in a way where Starkiller pulls a Star Destroyer out of the sky. And like that's the only thing that actually matters. So if that's not happening, then there's no reason to adapt it. Like that's the thing. That's the game is leading up to pulling a Star Destroyer out of the sky. If you take that away, what are we doing with it?
Unless they do what the novelization did, and Starkiller says, I'm not actually pulling the Star Destroyer out of the sky, I am guiding it down. It's already falling. He says that out loud, and then maybe it works.
Yeah. I could totally
it's already falling! I will guide it!
Starkiller, I mean, he defeats Vader in both endings, right? Like, he doesn't kill him in one of them, but the point is he is strong enough to defeat Vader. Like, he is that overpowered. The only person who stops him
I
is
don't mind him
Palpatine.
being overpowered, but I like the fact that he dies too soon to use that. That's why I enjoy that, because like you get the impression he could have been so much more, but he dies so soon that potential is wasted.
Yeah, because Palpatine's like, no, I need Vader for like this trilogy coming up, bro. So you need to get out of the way. Like, that guy's got to live. Sorry.
But I like characters that I don't like the Skywalkers being the only powerful characters. Like it's one of the reasons I think as much as he's an insufferable little prick, Kip Duron is a really good character, and one of the most interesting things about him is the fact that he's like on par with Luke with power. Like he doesn't have his maturity, but he has like the same power that he uses it sometimes, and it's the only odd occasion. But like in NGO, like when Luke does the thing where he moves the Dovin basil and he passes out, Kip does it as well. And he doesn't pass out. He's exhausted, but he's not as fatigued as Luke is because Luke's older than him by that point. Luke's an older man. And I like that we have a character like that. And I do think, I think some Star Wars fans, right, it's like when a character does something powerful, they're like, no, not having that. I don't like that they did that
Too
thing.
much.
Too much, yeah. I don't mind that. I think it needs to be earned or be at the least, like the difference with The Force Unleashed is, as we were just saying, it's just dumb fun. Like who gives a shit?
Yeah,
it's just like a fun
lot
time.
Of Star Wars
like yeah,
fans
it's cool to see him do that.
Have this whole thing with like the Skywalker myth, right? Like only the Skywalkers can be this strong. And I mean that was what kind of killed in the sequels. Like it's like, oh, who's Rey related to? Where do all these midichlorians come from? I'm like, some people could just be strong. Like I don't need there to be relationships. Like, or like what where's the genes come from? Where's the DNA?
I do need there to be training though. I need there to be.
Oh no, yeah, no, I'm not saying that Rey can just be strong because she's strong. There definitely needs to be training and that kind of stuff. But like Rey could be strong if she had the training, not just because she exists.
I don't mind
what happened.
You can have a character for me be naturally strong, but there needs to be some sort of like consequence to that. Like with Anakin, he's really strong naturally, but that's almost to a detriment because it makes him cocky and arrogant, and then he uses it too much. The same thing happens with Luke in the books where, he's so powerful and he just sort of thinks, I'll just force this, force that, I'll just use it all the time. And then that ends up, being such a bad thing for him. I feel like that's the way you can go about it. There needs to be something to offset that because ultimately, like, it's different with a game because you're playing it. You can have a fun time just being Starkiller, throwing things around. But if you were watching it or reading it, you'd be like, come on, man, this is getting boring now because it's not the same
After
thing.
the 20th page of Starkiller played around with the Stormtrooper for 20 minutes, I would get a bit bored.
If they were adapting my playthrough, it would be like 30 pages of spinning the Stormtroopers around and watching them grab onto things.
Yeah,
levitating them over a cliff and dropping them.
Yeah.
The Force Unleashed story is fine for a video game story. But if that was if I
It's
watched that
inoffensive.
exact experience, because I'll tell people, I'm like, dude, I love The Force Unleashed, and like, oh, so you're a hypocrite because you don't like The Force Awakens. I'm like, if I watched The Force Unleashed as a movie, I would walk out of the theater. It's so bad. Like, it's the fact that it's a video game that changes things, bro. But I will say, I think we've kind of exhausted the Force Unleashed. But you did say something, Gabriel, which is characters aren't allowed to be powerful. So, what if we explored an era where they could be powerful because there are no Skywalkers, i.e., something that we were talking about in chat a couple days ago, the Old Republic, when Force users can eat an entire planet through the Force and they can do all kinds of crazy stuff. And it's like, oh, well, it's the Old Republic, so it's like different rules. Now, something that was pointed out is the May the 4th poster, which is only like video game characters, featured prominent Old Republic characters. The Knights of the Old Republic remake is still in active development. Supposedly, a sequel, Knights of the Old Republic 2 remake, is also in development. Fate of the Old Republic is coming out. What do we think? Do we have thoughts on the hopes and fears for the Old Republic?
They've announced like 2 like action figures for
Right, Carthan mission.
Knights of the Old Republic characters as well. It feels like they're ramping up for something, doesn't it? It really feels like they're building up for something, or
there was
starting
speculation
to hint at something.
that the action figures are based on the concept art from Saber Interactive, because I believe that was leaked at some point. We definitely have concept art from Aspire, which was the previous developer. I think there was also some for Saber. People are just saying because Carth looks a little bit different than he does in game. Of course, the game came out in 2002, so there's only it's so much they can actually reference to an older game model. But yeah, it does seem like maybe they're trying to change things to like what he will look like in this new game coming out, possibly in 2 to 3 years, depends. According to a Twitter leaker, which again, like that's the worst source possible, but he said he's seen Saber Interactive's thing based on Trust Me Bro source, and that he thinks there will be some kind of teaser or something coming out later this year. That was 100% Star Wars, I believe, is the Twitter account, which apparently is somewhat credible. He's had some things right in the past.
No leaker can get everything right all the time.
No.
Yeah. Or sometimes, something may have been true once and not be true later on.
Yes, this was, I believe, late
fruition.
last year when he said that. He said like this year, which will be next year, in his post, he expected there's something to be some kind of teaser or something.
Right. Well, we're gonna find out.
I think,
it's May the 4th now. Have there been any announcements regarding the IP?
I've not seen anything at all.
I've not seen anything. There was some stuff expected today. I think people were expecting something, but
I feel like if they're gonna do anything, it's gonna be at the the Star Wars celebration next year, which does leave
apparently they've done a new trailer for The Mandalorian and Grogu.
Yeah, I don't care about that though.
Oh well, that's unsurprising. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I actually might have just seen that on Disney Plus when I was.
I glanced at it and there's a clip of the Phantom Menace and a clip of A New Hope and a clip of The Last Jedi. So it just looks like they're using.
I will say they were. I mean, I know that everyone's streaming thing. I think it's all algorithms nowadays, but they were pushing Phantom Menace on the front page of my Disney Plus. I don't know if that's for everyone. Because I clicked on it by accident because I saw Maul and I was like, oh yeah, this is Shadow Maul. Clicked on it and then started Phantom Menace and I was like, nope, that's not what I want. Go back. So they're doing something.
Did you see the figures? The figures released on like what performs best in Star Wars. They released some like figures. The top performing film is A New Hope, and then number 2 is A Menace. Andor is the top of TV, and then like I think they were saying like the animation is at the lowest out of everything, even though fans generally perceive animation to be some of the best stuff coming from Disney, but it's getting the lowest people watching it compared to the live action shows.
I'm not surprised by that. I feel like the animation doesn't have a real generation. Like, how many people truly started Star Wars with the animation? I'm sure there was some kids who like caught it on TV when like Clone Wars was coming out, but they probably fell in love with Star Wars when they watched the film rather than like those shows.
Force users
That's why you see like like I said, the Phantom Menace and the New Hope. Those are the starts of the respective trilogies. So like mine and Evan's generation probably like, oh, it's Star Wars Day. Let's watch the prequel trilogy, and you start with the Phantom Menace, and then of course the OT guys.
A lot of people around my age are a little bit older, grew up with the Clone Wars. There's like a lot of people that was their first exposure to Star Wars, but
hang on, fellas. We got a $10 super chat from Caius Nelson. Oh. First off, thank you so much for the $10, Caius. I very much appreciate it. Supporting Starcasters. The comment says, always wondered what generations of Force users look like. Jedi don't have kids. Sith always kill each other. So what's it really like after 4+ generations of Jedi intermarrying and having kids?
Well,
Star
in
Wars
the old
Legacy.
in the old Republic, they have they have a lot of kids because they suck at following the tenets. And generally, there's every so often they just don't have the Force. That seems to be a common thing. Like Jedi will get together. I mean, Revan's kid doesn't have the Force. You know, that's a thing.
Palpatine's
It's a
kid apparently didn't
consistent.
have the Force in Rise of
Yeah,
Skywalker.
yeah, that's true. I thought that was more of a clone, wasn't it? Or
Well,
was it? No, it was a
obvious.
clone child rather
I
than
don't.
a.
I don't
I think the
actually
best
know.
example
Yeah.
is that you actually see it in Star Wars Legacy. The
Hmm.
descendants of Jaina, the descendants of Jason, the descendants of Luke. So what the whole story is about, and it seems that obviously they never said anything about attachments. You know, they just sort of embraced it. So you follow a descendant of Luke. The Empire is ran by descendants of Jagged Fell and Jaina Solo. And then I've not read Legacy 2, but Legacy 2 has a descendant of Tenel Carr and Jason's kid. So you
That
get
definitely has an air of like medieval history to it, where it's like people being like, "Oh, my great 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 grandfather was king of England, so I must, England must do exactly as he did. I'm gonna go and try and conquer these places. He fought France, so I'm gonna invade France. It's been 500 years. Fuck it, we roll." Like it seems like that's
I
definitely
think
a case there, being like, "Oh, my
I
ancestor did
think
this, so
Ver
I
I
have to
think
do this now."
I think Verger is repulsed when she finds out that Mara has had a child and said, like they're starting a Jedi dynasty. And then Legacy went on to prove right that that's exactly what happened. That all people in charge were Solos and Skywalkers.
But without that, we wouldn't have
Yeah,
gotten Cade Skywalker, obviously the best character in the IP.
I actually do think Cade is a good character, but he starts off very boring. I think he ends up getting a really good arc later on, but he starts off like so emo and so like
Luke comes
annoying.
back as a Force
But in
Ghost for some reason to like follow him
Oh,
around.
it is so funny actually. Like he's Cade is doing death sticks in the hopes that he will lose the ability to use the Force, so that he stops seeing Force ghosts because he is annoyed that Luke Skywalker keeps pestering him all the time. That is why he's doing death sticks. He wants to become so weak in the Force that he never has to see Luke again.
That is an
does this
interesting
also
story.
imply that the Skywalkers want there to be a dynasty? But like, bro, come on, continue. Like, what are you doing? Like, we're pushing you to go do things.
Well,
The
it's good.
galaxy needs more
Cade,
Skywalkers.
I think I kind of like Cade's arc because he never embraces being a Jedi. Like he does embrace the light side. He dabbles with the dark side for so long, and he does embrace being like a good guy and a hero. But he doesn't ever become a Jedi, and that's not
It's
really
been a
what he's
very long
interested
time
in.
since I read up on Legacy. Is their interpretation of Jedi even correct at this point? Is it been like fully warped?
The other Jedi are right, I think, but Cade is
Okay.
obviously like Cade was being trained by his like dad, and then the Sith, like attacked and destroyed the Jedi. So there's another
I think
purge. That's
it
my
would
only
have been
major issue with
very
Legacy.
cool to
Is
see
another purge.
like, oh, we all call ourselves Jedi, and they have no idea what Jedi were like, and it's only
Well,
interesting
I
to
think
us because obviously we know what they were meant to be like.
you kind of get the Imperial Knights. They're kind of Jedi, but they don't follow the Jedi Order. They just serve the Emperor Fel. And that is quite a good story because Emperor Fel is also a Jedi, but like one of their rules is that if he ever falls to the dark side, they have to kill him. And then he does, so they have to kill him, and they actually stick to it. They actually stick to their the honor, and I think that's like a really interesting story. Some people hate it, but I do find it an interesting story, like the idea of the Empire actually having turned into like more of an honorable thing,
Well,
where they actually sort of
in
are run
even
by
in
good people.
even in real life history, there's examples of like when a decent ruler is in charge, I guess you would call it an autocracy, that whatever, or monarchy, or whatever, what have you, depending on the ruler, it could be beneficial for the kingdom overall. But a lot of times it would just be bad people in charge.
Yeah, and you always get I think the issue is that eventually it'll be passed down to somebody that will
Yeah, that's the problem.
do something bad with
There's
it.
now a
Yeah,
system in
but
place to benefit. Yeah, but
yeah, but
it is an interesting.
obviously when you have a
thing with
good
Star Wars.
yeah, I think it is an interesting. I
You
think
guys
it's
would
not
think that 'cause
again
you
my
have
issue.
a king.
Well, I
I'm
mean,
American.
I would I would have preferred if Star Wars went in a different direction. Like Legacy is not where I want the story to ultimately go, but I do think it is an interesting story. And as the our donator said, it is a good exploration of all these Jedi having children, and it's sort of they do become ridiculously powerful. I mean, Cade with the dark side can resurrect people, and that he sort of has this is sort of an issue that he can heal people and resurrect them, but only with the dark side. But obviously, when he loves someone, and he can't let go of them, he'll use the dark side to bring them back.
Well,
And
it is
that's a
pathway to
really
many
interesting
abilities
story.
that some consider to be unnatural.
Yeah, but
Should
I
we-
do think Legacy is a very good story for people that I think it's a good read.
I agree with that. Should we go down the list of like products and
We can do, but I'll just say
Yeah, I think we
quickly as
should,
well. Like
yeah.
you see the same thing in the Old Republic. Like the Shan family, like has some sway in the Jedi Order just because they're a Shan. Like this, like the Old Republic MMO is set like a good couple hundred years after the KOTOR games, but like she still has sway in the Jedi Order purely because of the name, essentially.
I like the idea that they're like no marriage, no kids, but this person's a Shan, so we should
Yeah,
respect
yeah.
what they think.
It's almost as it's expected. Like yeah, everyone, you're not allowed to have kids except for the Shans. They keep doing it. No one
Yeah,
mentioned
they keep
it.
doing
just
it. We
keeps
can't
happening.
stop them. Just
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
But if we
It
should,
is a consistent problem.
Sure.
should we go through everything that we know about
Yeah.
that's coming soon?
who's got the list? Julia, you
Well-
have the list?
I got the list. So season 2 of Maul Shadow Lord, which was given the green light actually before the show even went live, so they were very confident in it.
I think I'm going to like it more than season 1 because I think the place it's going is something more interesting to me. Like season 1, I was actually really surprised. It felt like a really good setup. Like it wasn't just like it wasn't like a boring setup, but it felt like these start to a bigger story. And they finally leave that planet, and Maul and and Devon are now going to go off to do all the things that season 2 will be about. Usually, if you do a season like that, that's how you get your show cancelled because no one wants to stick around and wait like a year for it. But they
Yeah.
did such a good job by making it so entertaining and actually having such like an interesting story that I think it worked. Obviously, because we all
Well,
did have some
season
fun with it.
2 is going to be what they tease at the end of Solo, essentially.
Yeah, I hadn't
Yeah.
thought about
I'm
that.
excited for that.
One thing I'll say is I expected the Inquisitors to die in this season, and the fact that they didn't, because both of them are resurrected with Night Sister magic, and when we see them die to Ahsoka, because when she kills the I think he's the 11th brother, the Crow. He deflates, and when she kills Marak, which is the one who looks like a medieval knight, he burst open into Night Sister magic. So when Ahsoka kills them, they're both already dead, which means they have to die the first time. And I think Maul or Devon is going to kill them in season 2. But I expected that to happen in season 1.
I thought Marok was going to get killed by Maul. Like that was what I
did
really
too.
thought was going to happen. Like at the least, like, I was so sure that was going to happen. And there were so many times where I thought, oh, it's going to happen now, and then it wouldn't.
Surprisingly, those two characters are who I'm most excited to see more of, because every time they were on screen, I was like, these guys are just like walking around looking menacing.
Are these the best Inquisitors so far? I liked Triller
Say
and
so.
Jedi Fallen Order, and I liked these two.
Yeah, these two are killing it. I want to see season 2 just so I can see them skulking around intimidating people. Like that scene where Marak walks in and like puts his hands on Lawson's shoulders. I'm like, I need more of this. This is great.
I think it was refreshing how like and strong they were, because
Yeah.
Inquisitors a lot of the time are pretty boring and weak, and
They're
just
just
not very
fodder
interesting.
and they're fodder for Ahsoka to show
yeah,
how cool she is.
They're
and how
a
powerful she
reason.
is.
They're a reason to have some action in. Like they're just sort of to give a red lightsaber a fight that isn't Darth Vader. But at least I kind of liked as well. They were quite mysterious. It wasn't like Obi-Wan where we were spending scene after scene with them and getting all dialogue and stuff like that, and learning about the hierarchy of power and the structure between all the different Inquisitors and stuff like that. It was
Yeah.
just silent, walking around, and then boom, killing loads of people.
That's all
and
I
trying
want.
to fight them, and I thought that was good.
I don't want what Kenobi gave us. I don't want all this dialogue or whatever. I want my Inquisitors.
I
to
don't
walk
want the
around
drama of
horrifying.
the hierarchy of the Inquisitors. Like, it's not interesting at
Real
all,
quick, I
and none
have-
of them are compelling.
The fact, okay, they did not do the helicopter lightsaber, so I'm good, because there was a scene where they were flying away and Marak could have helicopter lightsabered his way forward, and they didn't. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like whenever they're separated from the toxic waste, it's like why didn't they just helicopter lightsaber over? Because they can't, because they never could, because it was always dumb. So let's just leave that in the past.
I
Let's
feel like
pretend
they
that never
knew
happened.
Maul Shadow Lord had a potential to grab new fans who didn't watch the animations. You know, people who watched Andor and be like, "Oh, Star Wars TV is actually good," so they're gonna watch this. And I think if they threw the helicopter in, they'd be like, "What the fuck is that?" And then they'll have the same reaction that everyone has when they see the helicopter blade. So they knew, let's not use it.
Good call.
Yeah.
Let's just all collectively pretend that didn't have. Okay, what is it Dave Filoni said? It's campfire stories. That was a campfire story. The using your lightsaber as a helicopter, that didn't happen. That was a campfire retelling of that by someone who's like, and then this happened. Let's go with that.
And Dave Filoni was the one that was telling it.
No, because he didn't say
The campfire. Yeah, but you know, he forgot.
He forgot. Somebody brings it back up to him. Was like, "What about? Didn't you say they could fly? Why didn't they?" And Dave was like, "I never said they could fly.
Who said that? Who said that?
Not me. That was right.
That was a force jump. Yeah, that was a force jump. I don't know what you saw.
So wasn't that J.J. Abrams?
Yeah, it was Abrams. Kathleen, that was her. She told that.
If it was Abrams,
did
when
it.
they
She's
did
gone
it,
now.
it would be a bunch of lens flares. Like every time it spins, like it would just be a lens flare on
would
the
be able
end
to
of like
see.
of blade constantly. Blinded.
As somebody that enjoys Rebels, and I don't think the art style is as bad as people say. The lens flare problem. What on earth was going on there with like? Anytime there was a lightsaber on, like it would like. Yeah, but then
that was
they had
the
to,
sequel
like,
direction, you know.
Kojima.
If you watch the
maxing.
Disney, if you watch the Disney Plus like version, the brightness goes all the way down for like all the lightsaber fights to like try offset the flash.
For the
so suddenly
HDR
it gets
screens,
really
yeah.
dark. Yeah.
They
Awful.
seem to have
Nice.
fixed that with Maul Shadow Lord. It looks like a moving oil painting a lot of times. It is.
It
Yeah,
does.
I love
It's
the
awesome.
texture work
I
is
love
so
the,
good. Where you can see it's like a hand painted texture, and it has like there's actual texture on the texture. You know, there's ridges. Maul's face, especially like Maul's face, you can see like the brushwork in between his horns. It's really good.
I really like the absolutely thick layer of grain. I love it. How it's like it's like covered in grain, and I love that. I love really grainy stuff. Like I love when like a film looks dirty. You know, I like when it looks like grimy. You know, like
That's what I noticed
thrown
on
around.
these stormtroopers' guns. Like in the games, especially, they look like I guess it's meant to be plasteel. Like they look plastic. But if you look at the original props, they were Sten machine guns, like actual British machine guns that had like other metal welded onto them. In this, they look metal again because they are completely like beat up. They've got like loads of like where the paint is like being scraped off on the edges and stuff like that. I thought that was really cool because you don't really see
Really
that on
good attention to
stormtroopers most of
detail.
the time.
It's so. And actually,
I wonder how long they spent on the animation for this, because the attention to detail is insane.
Well, they
all
announced
the
it, like, 2
painted
years ago, didn't
backgrounds
they?
and everything. Yeah.
So at least 2 years
Yeah.
for 10 episodes.
That's the only thing we can hope is that they don't pull a Force Unleashed and be like, okay, rush out season 2. We've got the tech. Let's do it. And then the animation is like noticeably worse.
Yeah, no. Take the time with it. Yeah.
The last thing
Yeah,
the last thing I have to say about Maul Shadow Lord that I noticed is if you go back and rewatch the lightsaber fights, anytime a blade clashes, there is a single frame where the art style is like inverted. And if you go just look at some of the design when the sabers clash, like for instance, like the Crow character looks like a demon. Like when they, because it's like all black. Like right when they clash, he's blacked out with only red eyes. It's menacing. So if you go watch like different clash, and Maul looks like a monster. It's only for one single frame, so you have to like be looking for
That's
it.
cool.
But right when it clashes, they do one frame where everything is like blacked out except for like certain colors.
That's almost like they were farming thumbnails. You know, like in old school YouTube, before you could pick a thumbnail, people would pot like a random frame in their video to hopefully like get that as the thumbnail for the video. It's like they're doing that. Like we're gonna pot a load of cool frames and like they want to pick out.
It works because all these frames are fire.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my thoughts on Maul Shadow
So
Lord.
next,
You guys can.
it's
what's
the upcoming movie, the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, which I mean, it says it all. When I saw this in an article, so I don't know where it was from, but apparently Disney is not expecting this to perform very well. They're almost knowing like this. Yeah, this is the first movie in cinemas in a long time, and they don't think it's going to be like, oh, blockbuster.
I heard something about them like preparing for it to not do well, like for it to not do really well. Like they're ready for it. Yeah, I don't care really. You know, I'm not. Really,
It's a film that requires people to have watched a show, of which many people have already checked out of said show. So that's not a great like way to set it up. So if you didn't care about the TV, you're gonna look at this and be like, "Who's this character? What's a Grogu like? What's going on here?" Like it completely goes over your head. And if you have seen the show, you think, "Damn, season 3 sucked." Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I don't care anymore. I don't care what happens to Din Djarin. I don't care if Grogu gets ran over. I'm not interested.
It seems like it's been written that way, you know. They were like they needed to disconnect it from everything that's come before. It seems like whatever happens in this film is completely inconsequential.
Yeah.
Which makes it almost like because they've said that, like, why do I want to watch it?
Now
if
nobody
it
wants to
means
see
nothing. Yeah, exactly. That's what I feel. Like I'm not gonna give you. I'm gonna wait for it to hit streaming because like why would I watch it in cinema
I'm not
if you
going to see it in
said that
cinema.
it's not really tied to anything? Yeah.
Imagine if they just did a Batgirl and just cancelled it and just didn't release it.
It's too close to release. It comes out literally this month.
Yeah.
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 Oh, the cinemas would be pissed if they just pulled it last minute. Like they've already put so much marketing into it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
good that they're bracing themselves that it's going to do bad, and when it does, they're not like, "Oh, Star Wars is done. No more Star Wars." It's you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's good that they're like, "Okay, we already know this is not gonna."
I think this is like a necessary way to finish the arc, so they don't have that thing being like, oh, you remember the Mandalorian that they cancelled and we have no idea what happened to it. You know, they can be like, oh no, there's an ending. Like, you know, here it is.
And they can sell
It's
as many Baby Yoda props as they want. Just all the Baby
Yeah,
Yoda
exactly.
plushies, which is the real reason this movie exists.
They avoid the Book of Boba Fett thing where like we know like we're never gonna know more of what happened to Boba Fett other than he dies at some point. Like that's it. Like we have no idea what happens in season 2 because it's
Or maybe
not
they
coming.
can do like a Karen Travis, like 70, 80-year-old Boba Fett, you know, showing up after the sequels to, and you know, maybe he can like,
As
steal
Mandalore,
like the next
basically.
film. Yeah, as Mandalore, yeah, which is what, you know, Karen Travis did, even though he was like 70 years old.
Yeah.
All hooked up to tubes. That's my Boba Fett right there. Tube Fett.
Tubed out.
I mean, it's better than like peaceful Boba Fett that we got in the show.
Let's just pretend that didn't happen. Yeah, I don't care at all about.
Yeah, let's
Baby
not even
Yoda
talk about
Grogu.
it.
I don't think any of
No,
us
me
really
neither.
care about it. Good luck, Disney. I hope
So we
that
got
Pedro
Star
Pascal...
Wars Visions presents the Ninth
I've
Jedi
not tried
series.
Visions,
So like
yeah.
a follow up of like Visions, which is Visions canon, isn't it? Just like stories kind of told by
Yeah, each story is its own like
You guys keep
universe,
on
and then
yeah,
they revisit
it's just
a few
a way
stories
to
here and there.
it's thrown to like random animation studios, isn't it? To be like, hey, you want to tell a
it's
Star Wars story, you can.
Yeah, I think it's to, you know, maybe give some studios like a chance to work on something like really big and, you know, experiment a little bit. I know people that really love it. I just, you know, it's very much like anime like type stuff, and I feel bad saying that. I've never been able to get into any anime. I want to find one that I'll enjoy. I'm sure I will someday. But you know, when it's more catering to that sort of audience, I'm not that audience.
But
so
Visions
I'm not
benefits from that. It misses the worst thing about anime is that anime they tend to like they just drag out everything. It's based on like a lot of time they're based on mangas, and mangas do the same thing. It is just no one knows when to end something, and it goes on forever. And it's just it's an insult to your own time, really. If you watch any kind of anime, you're like, by the time you get like to season 12, you're like, bro, we're gonna finish this up now anytime soon.
What stops me from anime is one, you know, how long it is. And honestly, I don't mind a longer show, but it feels like, you know, when I watch 6 seasons of The Sopranos, like I feel like I've had a complete, you know, experience. But when I do
many shows,
you know, when you try watch,
everyone has a filler episode, but anime you almost feel like this is a filler season.
You have a filler
at times.
show,
And
yeah.
So
and then the other thing that puts me off is the really over exaggerated performances, like really fun.
The voice acting,
is a lot of the time it's really bad. But anyway, moving on from anime discussion because of the relation to Visions. I'm sure it might be alright for people. I'm sure for people that enjoy Visions, they'll probably enjoy that. But I've never watched Visions, so
I've never watched Visions either. I'm not interested.
It's not even like a thing. I don't think any of us have like negative opinions. It's just not really our interest.
I don't have an opinion.
Yeah, I have no opinion at all. I've watched like I think one of them, and I was just like, I mean, it reminded me the one I watched. I can't remember exactly which one it was of the 2002 Clone Wars series, where it was like this looks really cool, but you know there's not a lot of story being told. It was that like if you want just something that looks really cool, there you go. There are a lot of them are like that. So the Starfighter movie is next. That's Ryan Gosling on the video.
That's what I think.
Don't know a whole lot about that.
Yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic. I think for me, actually, I wrote in my notes for things I'm looking forward to. I'm a sucker for Matt Smith, so you know, I'll watch anything with that guy. well, maybe not anything. I've not watched Morbius, but I'll
He,
watch
he
almost anything
always.
with Matt
I
Smith.
mean, he always delivers. Like in Morbius, he's just having like dumb fun with it, and he's an actor who
Yeah.
plays. He's typecast as like zany actor, which is fair. That's kind of what he's done since his first breakout role. I feel like if you've played the Doctor
He
once,
was
you're
very
almost you're gonna be the Doctor for a long time unless you do a David
Yeah.
Tennant and try and like break out of that.
You can
David
crack
Tennant,
it.
what a versatile actor,
crack
isn't he?
Yeah.
But with Matt,
Yeah,
I think he has
just
more
let it
potential to do more
almost-
versatile
just leave
things.
it.
He was very good. I really like him in House of the Dragon. I think he's very
Just
good in
don't
that.
shut it.
I enjoyed season 1 a lot. I've not watched season 2 yet because I know it's not supposed to be as good, and I'm not sure I'm as interested enough to keep going with that show. But Matt Smith was
Yeah.
very good in that. So I hope I'd like to see him play maybe someone a bit more like uptight and a bit more stiff. I think that might be something a bit different for him. But I love Matt Smith. I'll watch anything of him.
I feel like
quite
I'm almost
Ryan
wasting Matt
Gosling,
Smith.
so-
Like, yeah.
Maybe, yeah. But I kind of, I quite like Ryan Gosling. I'm not like, number one Ryan Gosling fan, but I think he's a pretty good actor. He's done
No.
some amazing work.
Yeah,
so I'm
extremely
really pleased to see him.
charismatic. I mean, if Starfighters, like, what we think, is it going to be Top Gun? Like, what is it going to be based on? Because it's not going to be based on the games as much as we might want it to be. Let's be
It's
realistic.
not.
It's going to be
I
based
think,
on some kind of.
we know there's
Okay, yeah.
lightsabers.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I
we
think
know that Tom
I
Cruise
think
directed a lightsaber
speculation. Yeah, I think there's speculation that kid is like force sensitive, and he's going to be like protecting a force sensitive kid, which is like, again, really, how many times are we going to do, like charming, sort of older male, not older, but you know what I mean, like taking care of a young kid. Like, I'm not interested in that. But I think I'm hoping it seems to be doing some things a bit differently. It's called Starfighter. Like, it's going to be about spaceships, which is a bit
But
more
there's
different.
somehow Force users in it.
I don't know, yeah. And
This-
I really hope they don't do. There is some speculation that Ryan Gosling's going to be playing Corin Horn, and for me, I'm just like, oh no.
I can't think of better casting though. That's great casting.
He would be great casting. I don't like. It's just like, what? It feels wrong to me. There's Rey going around at the same time as Corin Horn. I'm just like, that just doesn't compute in my head.
Never gonna happen. I can promise
Yeah.
you. You can mark my words. Anybody watching this, Corin Horn will not be in Starfighter.
I don't think he's going to be in it now.
Although
he is,
nobody in Hollywood
Corin
knows
is in.
what.
I'm not sure. Corin is in canon, but we don't know anything about him other than that in Obi-Wan they've got Corin's name in the show, written somewhere.
Oh yeah, that's.
But
Look, all I'm saying, no one in Hollywood knows what a Corin Horn is. Least of all,
you never know. Maybe Ryan Gosling's number one super fan, Corin Horn.
Yeah, he only
This
signs
is
up for
Corin,
the
guys.
film.
if
Yeah.
anyone would be. Look,
Yeah.
here's what I'm counting on. Right, I have yet to watch a movie with Ryan Gosling in it that I didn't like.
Yeah,
if
same,
I
probably,
didn't like Starfighter, this would be the first movie I've ever seen with Ryan Gosling in it that I didn't like. So he's very,
I think there's
very
gonna
good
be-
at picking his films.
I think either I'll be pleasantly surprised and I'll really love it, or I'll probably think it's pretty good. I
It's
feel
got
like
a great
I have
cast.
faith that it's going to be. Yeah, it's got a really
Wait,
good
when's
cast.
it set?
I like.
Is it post?
It's set
is
after
it
the Rise of
post-Jedi?
Skywalker.
It's
Right.
the
Okay. Oh, so it's
furthest along
post.
in
It's like it's the
chronology.
first. Okay. Now,
Yeah,
well, that makes it a
the
bit more
yeah.
interesting because we haven't seen anything from that generation really.
Yeah,
A lot.
us book fans have been getting very disappointed. They announced a post Rise of Skywalker book with Finn, and half of it was before the Rise of Skywalker, and then the story told afterwards didn't progress the universe whatsoever. And then they announced a book with Rey that everyone thought, oh, they're going to do something after the Rise of Skywalker. And no, it's between the Last Jedi and the Rise of Skywalker. So they keep baiting us and then actually doing something different.
A lot of people believe, and this is the one thing that I think is like splitting the overall Star Wars fandom, which is a lot of people believe that the movie is going to be a prelude movie to the ever elusive Rey film, the ever elusive Rey and or New Jedi Order. They can't decide film that may or may not
That's gone
even
through
still
like
be happening.
so many writers, and it's not gotten anywhere.
So-
They must be really scared about this film. They're
Which they
really,
should
really
be. They should
trepidatious
cancel
about
it.
it.
They
Yeah.
should can it. Rey, she's Rey Skywalker now, and the Skywalker lineage dies with her because she goes off and she retires the Jedi just like Luke wants, and she's done. We've had her story. Ben Solo's dead. Rey Skywalker goes back to that island where Luke was, and she dies there. It's clean. It's cut. Put it in a book somewhere that's Rey's End, and let's move on.
Working
I
off what
think
you've
what-
just
what-
said, though,
what-
it sounds like it's gonna be Gosling finding this young kid and being like, "Oh, I need to find the only Jedi Master in the universe. I need to
Right.
find Rey," and that's the story. It's him
But-
taking this
Yeah.
kid to find Rey.
A lot of speculation is that Amy Adams is going to be playing the Jedi character, and some people think she might be Mara Jade. But how many times are we going to be like, "Is this the Legends
I think
character?"
she's-
And then it's not.
This would be
she's just
also
gonna
an
be,
elderly Mara
ginger
Jade.
Jedi.
Yeah, this will just be
Yeah.
an elderly
And what
Mara
was
Jade
she,
as
what
well.
was she doing? You know what it would immediately bring up? What the fuck was she doing during the sequels? Like, you get that question, you can't. They wouldn't do it because you just get you would think, what the hell was Mara doing during the sequels? Like, what? Maybe what was she? Did she divorce Luke because he was such a loser?
That's
Like,
what
why he's
I think.
a
It's gonna
robot.
be like. Yeah, is it just be like, oh yeah, Luke cheated on me, so I divorced him? Like, what's the excuse gonna be for why she doesn't care?
Yeah.
They could be adapting Mark Hamill's headcanon. Do you guys remember that Mark Hamill said that?
Oh,
his,
yeah.
Yeah.
He
That bonkers
his
idea.
son killed himself with like Luke's lightsaber, and so Mara Jade abandoned him. That's Starfighter. Oh,
Yeah.
let's hope
Yeah.
not.
Mm-hmm.
And there is in the I haven't read it, but there's in the Last Jedi novelization. There's like he has like a vision of like what his life would be like if he didn't become a Jedi, and like he gets married, and but then like they end up getting killed or something like that. But yeah, he's married to some woman. I can't remember what she's called, but yeah, they did hit that something like that. There's
Canon
always
Luke
been
has
Mara
a
gets thrown
Force
around.
nightmare, and he just sees expanded universe, and he's like,
he sees Dark Empire. That's all he sees, and then he'd
sees
be like,
Dark
"Oh, I
Empire,
was actually
Children
right.
of the
I
Jedi."
I saw a Palpatine clone," and then someone will tell him, "Like, did you know he actually did clone himself?" Like, "Oh, it wasn't even a nightmare. It was just correct vision."
"Oh no."
Yeah, I
was
was
right
gonna
all
say
along.
what I would do if I was in like Filoni's position and I couldn't, but I wasn't allowed to do a fresh take on the sequel story. I would just ignore it for a while and just do some do Old Republic, do Dawn of the Jedi, go really far in the future and just like push it aside for a while. And I would even because I trust like comic and novel writers more, just say like, oh, if you guys want to continue that story, do it in books or whatever, and we'll just focus elsewhere for now because of the reputation it has. I wouldn't want to risk it personally, even if I had like a really good idea. I'm not sure I would want to risk.
If it's like what they managed to do
doing
with the
anything
OT
more.
guys, like the authors and comic authors would probably be able to make a better Rey redemption than they could ever do in film. And maybe that's what they need to do. Is just be like, hey, you guys go wild.
I fully trust that if they handed the post Rise of Skywalker story to the authors, they would make like a really good story out of that. Like I trust those guys and some of the comic writers as well, like Charles Soule. Like I totally trust that those guys would do like a really good job of it. But obviously they're not going to do that. They won't let them do anything of importance outside of the High Republic. And then when they did something like the High Republic that was important, they said, "Stop that! We are making the Acolyte, and we are hijacking your story." So
Many such cases.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What else is on?
So
the
next
list?
is Ahsoka season 2. This is the end. This is the final, like definitely confirmed. We know it's coming. So all we have for
they're
this really
making
is
it
the
out,
poster, right? Where it's she's now got blue lightsabers, which implies something, and that's about it. That's all we
I've
know.
not seen that, I think.
We know that
That's all they've released is some artwork of Ahsoka holding blue lightsabers, and that's all we know.
we know. Baylan
And
Skoll is
you know,
gonna
and Thrawn and stuff. Yes.
Yeah, because
I'm
they
not sure
recast him.
what.
They recast him,
RIP.
yeah,
What
as
if-
the Hound from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Is the new one.
What are they
Yeah.
possibly gonna do with Thrawn when how are we gonna get a Thrawn story in Ahsoka whilst Ahsoka's all the way?
Well,
like, far
that's
away
why it
and
seems
has
like
nothing to
this is
do with
going
it?
to be a 50-50 based on the poster. It's Thrawn and Ahsoka. It's 50-50 Thrawn story and Ahsoka, and they somehow are gonna meet again. Maybe, who knows? That's all we can go
Thrawn
off.
Thrawn arrives right to the New Republic. And then he goes, actually, I left something behind. We're going to turn around and go back.
Yeah.
And then Ahsoka's like, we've got to stop him now, quick.
No,
That'll be the story, yeah.
this show, if I'm not mistaken, finished filming like a year and a half ago or something like that, didn't it? And then like rewrites or something.
Probably been a bunch of rewrites and reshoots and all sorts.
I have no idea. I just know they were filming a long time ago. Like, surely they must be pretty far along, with this show by now.
Here's my, and this is purely speculative, no basis, probably wishful thinking. But what if, when Filoni found out he was going to be in charge of creativity now, he said, actually, this isn't what I want to do with Ahsoka. Now that I can do whatever I want, I want to change some things. What if he wants to do something, and completely wishful thinking? What if he's like, all right, we're casting Luke, we're bringing him in, stuff like that. It's like we're fixing this for real. Things are going to start making sense for season 2.
Yeah, because the main problem with Ahsoka, I think we've said this before, is you watch it and you'll be watching it and you'll be engaged for a minute, and then every minute you'll think, what the fuck is Luke doing? Like, where is Luke right now?
Yeah.
What? You can't help it. Like, there's. I understand in the first episode when Balin and Shin Hati attack that obviously Luke's not going to be there, but when you're at the next episode, you're like, okay, so why aren't we getting? Why haven't we got a scene yet with Leia and Han, and they're relaxing on Coruscant or something, and Leia's doing her work, and then she's like, wait, hang on, I've got to communicate. Oh, there was Dark Jedi attacks. We've got to contact Luke, and wait, Luke is off, investigating this thing, but we've got to get Luke. What are they doing? Why are they not doing anything? It feels like
I was just gonna say they can't. They're not allowed to.
Yeah. Well, I reckon they
maybe
so
they are allowed to now,
like
what Evan was saying. Yeah.
But I think if they had the money and the technology to deepfake the whole lot of them, do them with a full story, they would have. But obviously they couldn't. So then they would. You would say, well, why don't they recast? But I think after Solo not performing too well, they're terrified of recasting. So they've just sort of been in this limbo where we want to tell stories. Yeah, I know. Actually, they're just in this limbo now where we're telling stories after the original trilogy without original trilogy characters because they're scared to do anything with them because they can't afford to deepfake them and then they can't. They're too scared to recast them and have someone else play them. So you're just watching it the whole time thinking, where are they?
Basically, yeah. But
doing nothing. That's what they're doing.
Yeah. And there is that rumored Tales of Luke Skywalker thing that they just announced where it's going to be animated. It's going to be Luke. It's going to be what he's doing post-OT. I don't know. This is all wishful thinking on my part, guys, because I want to believe, I want to be optimistic that Dave Filoni was getting held back, and now he's like, all right, let's do real Star Wars for real now. I'm bringing it in. We're making it happen. I hope.
I reckon what if Filoni does that, I reckon I'll still have some. I'll always have the same issues I always do with him. I think he does a bit too much fan service. We have all these issues, still the same issues that we have with Maul Shadow Lord. But if Maul Shadow Lord is an indicator of how he's going to be going forward, I will be fine with that because it'll still be good enough for me to have a good time. And it doesn't need to be perfect for me.
Ideally, what we see is Luke find Ahsoka, make an NGO kind of thing, an NJO thing kind of thing, where she becomes a teacher at the temple, and presumably Ben, I guess, kills her at some point. But
Yeah, what I really don't want is I don't want a relationship where Luke is learning from Ahsoka or I'm not interested in her.
I want him to be hey, I'm starting a school. You either you can work for me or we could just be friends or anything.
Which he canonically in Disney canon does do. He has a Jedi Temple school of students. We just don't know literally anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we met a few of them in the Rise of Kylo Ren comics, and that was it. And there's a great scene in the Shadow of the Sith novel where you actually spend a little time on Ossus on his academy, and he has Ben teaching some people lightsaber stuff and stuff like that. That little brief moment was oh my god, they can actually do this in canon. They can actually do a good job of it. Even though where it's going, they can still make it entertaining.
The worst fear, because we know Filoni loves Ahsoka, it's his favorite character. What if Ahsoka is Mara Jade, and that's who Luke hooks up with in Filoni's canon?
The age difference.
That would just be Filoni being look, that's how I've done it now. She is tied to Luke forever. Yeah,
the ultimate 12-year-old pressing his toys together, kissing.
That's literally it. Yeah.
Yeah,
his self-made Ahsoka toy with his Luke Skywalker action figure being
because it kind of links. I'll say one of my fears, which is the Dave Filoni heir to the Empire, and that is my biggest fear because it's going to be a very loose story. Whatever it ends up being, it's going to be nothing like the book, and I would just prefer as we said before, just call it somewhere else. But even then, it's not going to be satisfying because I think we all have expectations with Thrawn of being such a clever and interesting character that they can't do. They just can't do it without Timothy Zahn. They just can't manage it. And I think no matter what, it's just going to be a bit of a failure. And then, if it's just going to be one film, you can't do that story in one film. It's 3 books, so they're not going to do it. We know whatever they do, they're not going to be adapting it. It's going to be inspired, which is it is what I prefer. But I already don't like Thrawn in live action Filoni stuff. I don't think whatever we get for that. Honestly, although we've known about this supposed film for years, nothing has happened since, and I almost wonder if they're going to even go ahead with it anymore.
I think now that he's in charge of the universe's creative direction, he might step away from that film idea and reconsider what he wants to do.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like because we haven't heard anything in so long, and I think the direction, it's not like a hard pivot like when Disney took over Star Wars. I think it's a very slow, gradual. We're moving away to in a certain direction very slowly right now.
Yeah, we lost July.
I'm okay with. He's been taken away by Thrawn.
Dave Filoni got to him.
He's been saying too many facts.
Oh no, Dave got to him. Well, in the meantime, while Jular is either away or maybe had connection issues, we're not sure. In the meantime, we were discussing Ahsoka season 2 right now, right?
Yeah.
What is what is best case scenario that you would like to see happen with Ahsoka season 2?
Apologies, I am back. But yes, you are correct. What happened there was that it turns out the Mara Jade theory was correct, and Filoni's told me to redact that.
Okay,
that is not what's happening.
That'll be cut out of the uploaded video.
Yes.
Yeah, but what I would want to see, right, is personally I'm not particularly I don't know what that was there. Your reaction to that was perfect. You were being abducted by Filoni next. It's gonna come to me afterwards. Anyway, on what I would like to see in Ahsoka season 2. What I would like to see is, personally, I'm not particularly interested in Thrawn, so I just want to see, I wouldn't mind if I know it's not going to happen, but I would like if they dropped the Thrawn story for season 2 and let that be whatever else they're going to do with New Republic characters, and we instead got Ahsoka and Sabine on that planet and the whole story of Balin and Shin. That interests me more and now it's better for me as well because it's so far away. I can finally say, I don't need to say where's Luke because obviously he's not going to be there. So that worry goes out of my head. And that interests me more. I did like Balin and I liked Shin.
Yeah, isn't it similar?
I like that stuff. So.
In Dark Forces 2, which we will be covering soon, I mean, there's Dark Jedi in that, and you could also have the same question, being like, where's Luke? Why isn't he jumping in doing this story, So it's a similar situation with Balin Skull and so forth.
Instead of Thrawn, let's make Jarek the main villain in I
always saw Balin Skull and his apprentice being that is the Jarek of the Disney universe. Or at least that's he's trying to do he's trying to find something. It's a similar premise,
Yeah, but Balin's nuanced and has gray takes, whereas Jarek was just evil.
Yeah, but Jarek was a victim of 90s video game writing where you couldn't really get a whole lot of nuance character.
He just walks around screaming Morgan Katan.
Yeah,
I need Bach.
Yes.
I want Bach to be because the crazy Twi'lek who just jumps a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
I need Bach to be brought in.
I mean, he fills the comedic role, and we haven't yet actually had a comedic Dark Jedi in Disney canon, have we? It's mostly always the droids that go with them, or it's not actually them themselves. I'm not sure how fans would be receptive of that.
Maybe unintentionally. I think we've had a few that are unintentionally funny.
Yes.
Gork and Hick and Maul. Dark Forces 2 is obviously the best Star Wars product ever made.
Dave Filoni's Mandoverse movie. There's Charmin, I'm going to butcher this name, Charmin Obey Chinoy's New Jedi Order. That's the Rey movie, which we kind of briefly said, didn't we? Yeah, it's not, doesn't really go in. And then there's...
in terms of hopes and fears, we're hoping that gets cancelled.
Yeah. Or as we mentioned, gets turned... Gets given to the authors. Give it to the book guys. Be like, hey, go wild with this whole Rey thing. Simon Kinberg's Star Wars trilogy.
I think that
I should mention we're on the section that's essentially things that are not officially on hold, but are also just forgotten about.
Yeah,
so they somewhat are.
Forgotten. One I would like to bring up, which we haven't heard about in a while, is the Dawn of the Jedi film, which we've heard nothing about for ages since it was announced. But see, that's an era I would be interested in them exploring because it barely got explored in the EU before the EU stopped, and I don't think it was explored particularly well. It wasn't really that interesting. That could be a really interesting era, the start of the Jedi and how different they
Yeah.
were and how they formed, the
Do,
beliefs
do
that
you
they
think
would
they
end
would
up
do the
following.
whole, Jedi, like where it's 2 words
Proto
that get
saber.
merged
It would be
into
cool
one?
if
Like,
they did.
yeah,
Yeah, because that's and I would like as well if they had the whole the Jedi of that time believe in like a balance between dark and light. Like that's what they try to do. And obviously the that doesn't work for them. But I like the that could be an interesting story, them getting it wrong. And having to learn. And obviously I would like to see, the Rakatan Empire. Like, I would like to see them do
Yeah.
stuff like that and make something more of it than Dawn of the Jedi did, because in the
Yeah.
EU they didn't do much of it. Like they did nothing interesting with it.
It's an empire
do all-
so
do all
evil
of
that
it.
the Force had to cut them off. Like that, we've never seen something like that. The Sith aren't so evil where the Force is like, nah, you guys have gone too far. But the Rakatan did it, so that's gotta be pretty messed up.
It's too
I'd be
interesting for
interested in-
Disney to tackle.
It would. I mean,
Yeah.
if you just base
It
it
would
on
have to be,
on
like-
Aztec myth, right? Like they're just constantly torturing and sacrificing people to try
Well, that
and
is
up
you're
their
now
power
going
all the
into what
time.
happened with the Yuuzhan Vong, because they were based on Aztecs and
true.
they were cut off from the Force.
That is an
Well, yeah.
interesting thing to explore. It's like you think Sith are bad; they're just power hungry and selfish. These people like mass sacrifice infants and stuff. That's
Well, because
it's pretty dark for Star Wars though.
Yeah, the idea with the Vong is, they seem so terrible that some Jedi start to think, do they deserve to be slaughtered? Like there's this whole crisis with the Jedi, and that some of them just want to destroy them all because they don't know of them as. You find out they're individuals; they're just like people. There's good Yuuzhan Vong. There's plenty of good ones, but because they don't know much about them, Luke has to sort of stop them from just trying to slaughter them all. Has
Now
Dave Filoni taking you out?
Right, what did
It's
Evan
happening.
last say? Because whatever Evan last said was not allowed. Clearly,
Oh, good. We have so many things we're gonna have to cut out.
yeah.
I'm gonna have to be careful what I'm saying because it'll be me next. I've not been taken out yet.
Yeah. Okay, so we got I guess
Continue,
other things on
continue.
hold. The Ben Solo movie that's essentially
It's not
cancelled,
happening
right?
now.
Like
Yeah,
it's not happening.
they said
Taika
with all
Waititi's
the
Star Wars.
Is that
I
still
don't know if
happening?
I'm glad.
Not really.
Well, no, that's on
happening,
hold.
really.
So I'm glad. I don't want that to happen. Seeing as the last thing that he did with popular culture was, what he did to the 4 movies, which he had the third one was okay, like good comedy chops, and then the 4th one was awful. So I don't want that with Star Wars unless you get him directing something like Star Wars Droids, where it's known like, hey, this is made for kids. It is just a comedy thing. It means nothing to the canon or anything.
The indoor
He could do
movies
that.
with Ewoks, Caravan of Courage.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. Yeah,
You can have the Gungans. Give him a Gungan movie.
that's true. Yeah, give him a slapstick Gungan movie.
Jar Jar. Star Wars. Jar
I was just
Jar.
about to say Jar Jar.
Jar Jar
A
story.
Star Wars
yeah.
story.
Jar.
You can have that.
Jar.
Full stop. Not even Star Wars isn't even in the title.
Yeah, it's just Jar.
Jar.
Yeah. I was gonna say I had a fear that I wanted to talk about, which was how much I really like I think they do a really good job even today with books and comics, but my fear right now is that it's going in the worst direction it has been at all yet. In the novels, first of all, I was talking to someone recently who who loves canon, and we both had the same concern. They keep like false advertising, like that keeps happening. Or like playing on our expectations. The Vader novel, well, it was sold as a Vader novel, isn't told from Vader's perspective. The Last Order, which was sold as the one I just mentioned, that was sold as the first book after the Rise of Skywalker, and we're going to see what Finn was doing. Like had none of that. That keeps happening, and then with the comics
they
are
did
getting
that
so
with the
bad with
Plagiarism
Star
book,
Wars.
the Plagiarism book would be called Sidious, and the cover would be Sidious, and you think, oh, the book opens up
Yeah.
with Sidious' perspective, and it's just Plagiarism for the entire book.
Yeah, and
That's what they're doing.
I think they have done it perfect in the original cover, where
be
you
called
see
Sheev.
Plagueis and you see Sidious.
Yeah.
Sheev. But I think with the comics, right? The comics are getting so poor now, in that like each series is not like they launched like loads of new series. They did a new Kylo Ren series, a new Star Wars series after Return of the Jedi, and they did a Jedi Knight series, which just felt like a copy of Republic. But anyway, I tried all of them, and they all started off really good, and then they went on for like 10, 15 issues and all got cancelled. And the story just got really poor as it went on. And they're having this issue now with Marvel and with Star Wars comics where a series only goes on for like 10 to 15 issues and then gets cancelled. And then they move on to the next one. So we're just getting these short series and comic series that are supposed to be big comic runs getting cut off so soon and not doing much interesting, which is it's really concerning because we've had so many good years of, so many good comics for quite a while now. And I don't really know what's going on there, but apparently there's something to do with Marvel, and they're really struggling right now in a way that DC isn't. Because DC is thriving at the minute with like Absolute and all these big runs in this like other universe, and Marvel is really struggling right now with like all their series ending and nothing's selling like they want it to, and especially Star Wars. I mean, that Kylo Ren run, I think they were expecting to do a lot better than it did because it just sort of cut off and just said Kylo Ren will return, and and then that was it, and it just sort of stopped. And I felt like as well, it became a bit like prequel nostalgia slop. Like it just started being like Kylo Ren goes to this prequel planet and learns something Darth Vader did, and then now we're going to somewhere else Darth Vader has been before, and it just like I don't know, it just got boring. And the series after Return of the Jedi, they did the exact same thing. We're following Luke, and we're getting like this whole Luke plot and investigating this like Force cult, and then we're getting Leia and this political plot where they might go to war with these people that won't join the New Republic, and that was so interesting. And then we get a whole like few issues where Luke and Han wear clone trooper armor and fight droids. And I was like, what is going on?
They
fight battle droids and clone troopers. Yeah. They wear clone trooper armor and fight battle droids. They had a whole issue of that after Return of the Jedi, and it's like, guys, I like the prequels, man, but what are we doing? Like, what are we trying to suck in it dry? So that was happening in the comics, and then, like I said, the books have been getting false advertising. And I feel like after the High Republic ended, they had like this massive story that they were telling. I feel like they don't really know what they're doing. The other thing they're doing another initiative that's like genre books. So we're getting a children's horror book. Why do children? And we're getting a young adult romance novel for like, wait, it's basically Goosebumps, with Darth Vader. But we're getting a young adult Force Bumps. we're getting a young adult romance novel that's like a book talk book, and like stuff like that. And it's just like, what is going on? Like, I feel like they're really dropping the ball like this year.
Isn't that just re-released the novelization of Attack of the Clones? This put it in the YA section, and there you go.
It's crazy because they have done a young adult romance novel called Lost Stars, and it is amazing. It's so good. It's a really incredible book. It's like one of my all-time favorite Star Wars books. They've got a really good one there, and Claudia Gray said she'd like to do a sequel to it. So ask her to make a second one. Just do that. I don't know why we need to do this like book talk thing. Yeah, I'm fearful of what's going on with the books
false advertising. Right, is it possible that Disney are like enforcing some kind of like sales target? Like you have to hit this target for your series to continue, and that's why they're doing whatever they can to try and like keep the numbers going.
It's definitely, I know for sure that is happening with the comics because, like I said, they're all just stopping because they're not selling well enough, and I don't think they seem to really have any good ideas right now on what to do. I think it's that same issue where they're not allowed to tell important stories because it has to get saved for the shows.
But they also have to sell as if they are telling important stories.
Yeah. So then they just
I guess the answer is why you were saying like you just get like filler comics because it is like we're not allowed to Luke to do anything cool. So here he is fighting droids for three comics in a row.
Yeah, and like I said, they were setting up like they introduced this planet and all these people, and there was like Leia went to them to say like Leia and Mon Mothma went to them and like join the New Republic, and they didn't want to, and then they were gonna like go to war with them, and that could be a really interesting story. That they had to fight people that disliked the New Republic. And just nothing happens with it because, the comic series got cut off.
Well, that's probably when they said, hey, Filoni might do a New Republic movie, you can't do anything now.
Yeah.
Nobody can do anything because we may want to do that in a movie.
Yeah, it's that thing, it's not even we are going to do it, like with George Lucas,
we might do it.
We want the door to be open.
Yeah, George said, to the books people, like they wanted Tales of the Jedi that we're going to check out at some point. Tom Veitch and Kevin J. Anderson and all that, they wanted to tell the prequel story, but George said, no, I am going to do the prequels, don't do that. But you can do this. And that's what happened with the books as well. Like, they wanted to do some stuff before the films, but he said, no, I'm going to do some prequel films. But you can do the books after the original trilogy because I'm not doing that. We're not getting that, because they want to they want to make as much as they can and save it for the books and save it for the films and shows. So they say, don't do anything important because we might possibly do it one day, maybe.
Well, that's one of the problems with Disney canon is that I think Lucas, if we said it before, he respected the books, but he also he could overrule the books if he wanted to. If he wanted to be like, nah, that one's canon, because I want to do this in my film, that was fine. Whereas Disney, like, everything has to be seen as canon, and because of that, they can't do anything cool in the extracurricular stuff because they want the mainline stuff to be the cool thing.
They're still just as willing to ignore that anyway. Like, I feel like
of the marketing so what's even the point?
Yeah, like part of the marketing, I feel like, for the new canon was just it was like, this is, these books, they're going to be more important than the EU books were. We care about this more than George did, and then they've just went on to prove over the years that they care just as much or even less.
Tony Gilroy is
George
on film saying that he was annoyed that somebody had given that Imperial droid from Rogue One a backstory, and he was like, "But I ignored it and did what I wanted anyway."
Yeah, who said? Somebody, was it even him? I think he said there is a tier system, is what he said, and I don't think he was supposed to say that in an interview because they don't obviously want people knowing that. But yeah, because that's what they did before. And I think this is my thing. This is getting into speculation, but I think people who make the films and shows are told we have a tiered system. You don't have to comply to this stuff if you don't want to, but they want us to think that no, it's all just as important.
All canon.
Yeah, which they're happy to throw it away in a second.
They're just doing the same thing Lucas was doing, but like they're being less honest about it.
Yeah, because he was totally honest about it.
What else?
It's like Troy Denning.
They probably think it drives sale numbers, but if they've proven anything, that's not the case. They would be better off making cool stories.
They were honest about it back then. Troy Denning said in an interview, "We were told it was canon until George wanted to do something different." And that was the mentality. And I think most people knew that, unless they were like growing up with it, which obviously they might not.
I didn't know until I was older. But
yeah.
What's next on the list?
Yeah. James Mangold's Dawn of the Jedi movie, which we already talked about, didn't we? Dawn of the Jedi. The Lando movie.
Probably not.
Which I think was meant to follow on. That was meant to follow on from Solo. He was meant to have his own movie, and that's not happening.
Yeah, it's probably
I will say this is in the status unknown section, which is like, hey, we were gonna do it, and now we're not, but we're not telling you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rogue Squadron movie.
Patty Jenkins.
It's not happening.
There's no way. That's not happening.
Yeah, because I remember as well, they were so like proud of that. Michael Stackpole talked about how he was contacted, and they talked to him about the X-Wing books and like what they might do with stuff from those books. And now it's just not happening. That is not being made.
Because they got that right after the Wonder Woman movie came out. I think the Wonder Woman movie came out. It was very well received. They asked Patty Jenkins. There's like a photo of her standing in front of an X-Wing because she's like, I'm doing Rogue Squadron, and then I think she was supposed to start it. I'm getting into speculation now. I think she was supposed to start it after Wonder Woman 2, but then she did Wonder Woman 2 and it was terrible. And I think they probably just said, "Oh, never mind."
Yeah. And I don't even know, like, what the hell would the Rogue Squadron story be in canon at that point? Like, what are they going to do? I feel like all the important stuff has been done. It's not like the EU where we can have the them taking Coruscant and fighting Izard and nothing. There's nothing happening. They've kind of shot themselves in the foot by making a point of that, like, barely anything happened between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens, and then doing such a bad job with the sequel films that's all they have left. So now they can only tell stories in this period where they said, no, the war ended after a few years and there's nothing else happening. Nothing else happened. Nothing's happening. Stop. Like, they did that, and now they're trying to tell stories in that period.
Again, they should have just been more honest and said, no Yuuzhan Vong, which is what they were really trying to say.
Yeah. And no Chewie's death. That's really what they wanted to get rid of.
That's JJ specifically. Because he's never had a bad idea. He's never done a dumb thing in his movies. Somehow Palpatine returned in a reshoot, but the planet crushing Chewie, that was a note too far. Clone Snoke. They fly now.
They fly now. Iconic.
Yeah.
What's
JJ's taking you out.
JJ was not happy with that one. So we got Mando season 4, which got changed into the film.
Yeah. Did you see what was it?
Season 2.
John Favreau said, I I have season 4 on my desk. Like he said that they had
said
it
they won't let
and
it
like
make
they
it.
made
Yeah.
it. Yeah. So I don't really care though. Like they lost me. I say it all the time, but I was really enjoying it. It wasn't like the best thing ever, but I was really enjoying it. And then they took Grogu away from Luke, and I don't care anymore. I just don't care. You could do anything. I don't care.
It's funny that
Yeah.
Luke has had the most screen time in Disney canon outside of The Last Jedi in the Book of Boba Fett.
The Boba Fett show. What on earth? Just you saying that, I didn't even think about it. The Boba Fett show. What are they thinking?
That's where he has the most screen time. That's the most Luke
Yeah.
we get.
That was
That's
the failure of the
crazy.
Mandoverse and why they are, I think, trying to close it up, this film, because it just got crazy to the point
Yeah.
where, like, what are you even watching now? If you cared about Boba Fett and you didn't watch anything else, like, oh, I can't wait to watch the Book of Boba Fett, you'd be like, who the fuck are all these characters? Like, what's going on? Who's
read
this
the Boba Fett
Mandalorian
books.
guy? I don't Yeah.
Also, what
So-
on earth? I just thought about it. What on earth is the title? Like, why is it the Book of Boba Fett? Like, what
I
book?
don't know.
What?
What
You know,
do you
they
think
should
they were
have called
trying to
it
think of, like, you know, in Lord of the Rings when it starts with Frodo writing,
Boba.
like he starts, yeah, they should have just called it Boba, yeah,
Bo.
yeah. We got Carlton and Nick Cuse's Star Wars series.
I don't even know who are they?
I don't know who they are.
I have no idea what this even is. It's just on the list of things that Disney have forgotten about. It was announced. It was, I mean, ABC. Oh no, so they worked behind on Lost. It was announced that they were going to
that's
be
what
working
it
on a
is.
Star Wars
Okay.
show,
All right.
and then project was confirmed in April
That's not
2025, and then nothing since.
Okay, that might still
So that
happen
was-
then, because that was last year.
Yeah, that's
Oh, is
not
that
long
soon?
enough
Okay,
for
maybe then.
that's not long enough for them to like completely
true.
forget about it.
Okay,
so-
the feeling I have, right, is with Filoni is that I feel like we're going to sort of, you know, like I said about that slow shift, I feel like he's just going to let us forget about all those things, and we're just going to sort of do a slow, clean slate. Like, not a boom, this is all gone, this is all new stuff. I feel like we're just going to slowly move
Let's just
into doing different stuff.
We just
Yeah.
pretend we didn't announce it at all.
Yeah.
yeah.
Which they'd love doing.
And that's pretty much it for all like the movies and the shows, because the other things I've got here are like actually cancelled things, and you can't really have a hope or a fear about something that is confirmed to not come. So, you know
what
like,
I think, right, is
Rian
that
Johnson,
I think
Star
this'll
Wars.
be-
Rian Johnson Star
think
Wars
that
trilogy,
this'll
like,
be-
nothing to worry about there.
We can
It's not
celebrate.
It'll be
happening.
really interesting.
Yeah, we
I think
can.
it'll be really interesting to do this again maybe next year, because I reckon like next year or the year after it'll be totally different. I reckon we're going to be starting to get so many like
We'll
cool
be
announcements
deep
and
into
so
the
many things.
Filoni-verse at that point. You know, we'll
Yeah, and
know
I
like
think,
what's
you
going
know,
to be coming.
We're gonna
Yeah.
have a lot to talk about of stuff that is actually coming out, is my prediction. Because
Yeah.
you know, again, as much as I have criticism of Filoni, he gets stuff made and he gets it out. You know, when
Is-
have we had like
Yeah.
Filoni stuff that doesn't just come out?
We'll
you know?
we'll be talking about season 3 of Force Awakens.
Is Star Wars Celebration happening May 4th next year?
No, it's in
next
April
year, I
actually.
know for
So
sure, but-
yeah,
We'll be
in
able to
April
talk
time.
about. So
So,
if we do this next year,
exactly.
we'll be able to talk about all the new announcements. That'll be interesting. Because I'm considering. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. I'm considering actually going to Star Wars Celebration, but
That would be cool.
I don't know if I'm going to do it or not. I don't know if I'm going to be able to afford to. It depends on how well this year goes for me.
I mean,
Yeah.
depending how Ahsoka season 2 comes out, which I think will come out. That comes out later this year, right?
They haven't announced the release date yet. I don't think.
They haven't announced anything. Oh damn! Because
No,
that would
we don't
really
even have a
when
trailer
it comes
yet.
out, we'll decide how interesting the Hayden Christensen panel will be. Because you know, as we were saying, where he might become the father in Mortis, that'll really determine if that what that panel's talking about, or if it's just going to be the standard nostalgia stuff. So I feel like he's always asked, like, "Oh, did you know when your films came out, people didn't like you, but now they do?" And it's like the same, thing every time. And he's like,
Yeah,
this
"Yes,
is what fun
I'm very
begins, yeah.
thankful." Yeah. Right, so that's like all the movies and shows. So we've got the games. So we have the
that's
game
my-
that
that's
is
my
coming out.
forte. There's a Dark
The
Trooper
first is
shirt.
nice.
Oh.
We got Star Wars
Yeah.
Galactic Racer, which is just announced to date. That looks pretty good. The only thing I'm against is that it's got pre-order bonuses. It is a premium game in the year of 2027,
But it's-
2026.
It's
but,
not full price though, right? Isn't it like $40, $50?
I'm not actually clear on that, and I don't know what the pricing is. All I know is that it has got a pre-order bonus, which is for. It's not just a pre-order bonus; it's actually like a special edition bonus. I believe the special edition is full price, so it's like $70. to get everything, and then maybe it's like $50 to get a base version of the game.
That makes sense. That probably is still day one for me, but that's just because I'm probably going to stream it. I'm probably going to buy it and stream it. And I was a fan of Pod Racer in the day. Or just
Well,
it's
that's the
not,
only
it's
thing
not
is
something
that-
I'm interested in, but
The only thing I don't like too much is that they're almost scared the pod. Like they've got 4 pod races. They're almost like that's enough. We don't want we don't want people referencing the prequels too much in this.
I thought that at first, but I've changed my opinion on that. I think they just wanted it to be. I think they just wanted a bigger variety of vehicles. I think they didn't want it to be a pod racing game. I think they wanted it to be a game where they can continuously release new and interesting vehicles. And by making it just a racer game, you can make different vehicles, release new interesting DLC vehicles. But if it's a pod racer game, you're just doing pod racers.
Yeah.
So this is probably a
And I don't
good
think they have to
decision.
care about canon too much. Like I think we will see KOTOR stuff. Like they will probably get
swoop
swoop
bike?
bikes in there at some
Let's
point.
go.
Yeah.
I hope so. That's what I want. They'll probably make it a
I mean,
fucking deal.
Yeah,
did watch
they'll
it.
probably have like the Return of the Jedi stormtrooper bike. There'll be that kind of stuff going on as well. The power scaling will be crazy because you'll have ships that should be faster, than this. They'll all be racing each other at comparable speeds that doesn't really line up.
Yeah, true. I'm excited about it, though. It looks like it'll be fun, and for a game like that,
That's all
it
that
needs to be.
matters. Exactly. I'm not there being like, oh, how is this ship working at the same speed as this ship? Like, who cares?
So Bulba should be back on Malastare at this point.
Yeah. Then there's Star
we
Wars
really
Zero
just need
Company, which is going to be like
the Ben
strategy game.
film, really.
The what?
The Ben Quadra.
The Ben film, yeah.
I forgot his last name.
Ben. A Star Wars story. Quad arrows.
And they should advertise it like the book as well, where it's just Kylo Ren's face. Like there's Kylo Ren's face massive on the thing, so you think he's going to be in it. It's not in it. It's just all about Ben Quadradonis.
There's one
Ben,
hollow of
Star
him.
Wars
There's one hollow of him.
We do another one called
That's what they
Tyrell.
need to do.
Brad's Tyrell.
Yeah. So we got the Zero Company,
What if
next, which is the
what if for the Ben
XCOM
what if for the
clone.
Ben film you just put a massive Revan in the corner for no reason whatsoever?
Yeah, no reason,
just to bait people.
I need to put together a Ben Quadinaros movie poster and put it on my YouTube.
Yeah, with like all sorts of characters from all over Star Wars that have nothing to do with it.
Kyle Katarn, Revan, Bastila, Kylo
Starkiller.
Ren, Starkiller. Yeah, he's got to be in it. Luke. Both forms of Luke, Episode 8 and Episode 6. This is a multi-generational film, Quadinaros.
The Quadinaros story.
What
Well,
else?
we don't like his species might live for like a really long time, so that could work. It's like
would just
Forrest
well,
Gump,
even if it
he actually
don't-
just he bumps into them at different points of their lives. He's just always
Even
there.
if we what if we put him in the films? We do like the Forrest Gump thing and edit him into the films where like he meets them at like really important
He
moments.
was always in the background every time.
Mon Mothma said like many Bothans died for this information,
in,
and he's like terrible tragedy.
The second Spider-Man film, when they edit in Mysterio like in the background, like that scene from I think a Civil War. Like you just do that, like it's always
Yeah.
Ben, like in the background of all these things. He was always there.
He was always there. He's Palpatine. He is
Yeah, he
the actual
orchestrated
clone of
it all.
Palpatine. Yeah.
He's
Palpatine
actually
was
the
a clone
father of
him.
Anakin Skywalker. That's why he was on the planet. That's why he's on Tatooine.
The movie
He transferred
ends,
the midichlorians.
The movie ends with a young Palpatine bowing in front of Plagueis and leaving the room, and he pulls off his Mun mask. It's Ben Quadinaros.
So he actually Ben was actually turned to the dark side by the Emperor from the Old Republic. So he was like exploring, doing his
No,
racing.
he actually
and
is.
He
He
got picked up.
actually is the Emperor.
is.
It's the-
Yeah, no,
Darth
he
shit.
turned Revan and Malak.
yeah.
It's just George
This entire
Lucas
time
is
he just
revealed to
transferred
be
his
Ben.
sentience into Ben. Yeah.
What was next
He's
on the list?
actually
So as I was saying, it's Zero Company next, which is the XCOM clone.
I'm interested, but I don't know enough about it to know if it's day one for
Is
me
it
or not.
Zero Company is is it actually following an actual group of people called Zero Company, or
I
I have
think
no
so.
idea like about it too much. Okay.
I know it's like hero characters, so each
Yeah,
character
all I
needs
know
to-
is that
Terrible
there
company
is
name,
a
that.
Zero Company.
yeah, there is a
Zero
Jedi on the
to-
cover.
This summer, from zero to hero. Our group of lovable
they've got-
misfits take on the Empire.
Oh, it's written
Yeah,
by the
just
same writer as the Jedi games, Aaron Contreras.
Oh, okay, cool.
Contreras.
oh,
So
okay.
there's
I
that,
suppose that's something they're going for it. I don't know. It just looks like more like below average slop games that will get played by like a few people and then get forgotten about, and they'll cut support and then they'll sort of brush it aside if it releases.
Yeah,
He's
well,
talking about me. I'm that demographic.
If it's like XCOM, I think it'll be good. But if it's like XCOM, it also means it just means I don't see how it can have a story that means anything to the canon. Because XCOM is it's very random. I guess it can kind of like what happens, and like all the people that you can get in your squad will be completely different every time. It's almost a bit of a roguelike in that in that aspect. So I don't see how, if they are taking a lot of aspects of XCOM, how you could maintain that. It's meant to be a game that you can replay a lot, not a game that has like a serious story.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, if that's the case, I don't know how that's gonna work.
I have no idea. I probably will live stream it though. It may or may not be day one for me. I think that doesn't have a release date, does it?
Not that I know of, but it's like it's definitely coming out. It's like it's under a decent amount. It's just set to be released this year. That's all we know. They've released like screenshots and like actual footage of the game running.
It'll probably be summer, maybe. A lot of stuff comes out in November,
Possibly.
actually, so we'll see.
Well, if there's not been a release date announced yet, it probably isn't going to be summer because that would be a very last minute release window at this point.
True.
Next is Fate of the Old Republic, which I mean, who knows? Like this literally, they basically just said, "Hey, we're hiring."
Yeah.
Like you can't really go off anything on that.
No.
We know
Too
that
soon.
they're now finally touching the Old Republic era in canon. That's what we know.
Yeah.
About time. So yeah.
And the design of the
we have
Sith ship is
Revan
canon.
as well canonized. Yes,
Yeah.
and Revan's name is canon.
Revan's name is canon, and I am
A
glad
few
that
other people are canon as well.
I always really loved the design of the Sith like war cruiser. I don't know what you call it. I forget the name of it, but that Sith like capital ship, I loved that design. It's all sharp and pointy. So I'm glad that that's canon.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like as much as we don't like the MMO, they could. I don't see why they can't just canonize that. It does not conflict with modern lore like at all.
Maybe they will.
They
might be
could just
time.
be like,
Yeah, but
hey, this is canon,
By a
Because
lot
it's
of that
still
logic,
being
you could canonize almost all of the Old Republic and just tweak a few things. I mean, it's difficult for some, like I feel like they'd be more skeptical with like KOTOR 2, but I feel like you can do it. I feel like you can make all that stuff work in some way, because it's so far removed from the rest of Star Wars.
Yeah.
The only reason it would be hard for them to canonize KOTOR 2 is because the people who run Disney wouldn't be able to actually understand the writing, so they wouldn't know what it's telling them.
I don't think the complexity of that story and what it has to say about Star Wars entirely fits the canon universe, because I don't think the same. It's the same with NGO. KOTOR 2 and NGO share the same thing with what they have to say about Star Wars is no longer relevant to the current canon.
They would play it and they'd be like, I don't get it. Is Kreia a good guy? Is she a bad guy? I don't understand.
They might end up actually agreeing with her on the Force.
Yeah.
Let's destroy the Force. Let's kill it.
Let's just destroy it. Go on.
Maybe that's what they've been trying to do this entire time. That's what it's all leading towards. It's Rey destroying the Force.
This will
really
begin
funny,
to set
actually.
things wrong.
That's-
There's Jedi 3, which
probably gonna be
is
a
just
banger.
announced.
We know
Yeah.
like so little about it, which annoys me. But
Respawn
I'm probably gonna
is-
love it.
Respawn is 2 for 3 right now, so
Yeah, Respawn's solid. I mean, Cal
I loved
Kestis,
1 and 2. I'm excited.
I forgot the name of the actor, something Morgan, isn't it?
I
But
would have known.
the
but
actor between Cal Kestis likes playing him. I think he's come back.
Cameron
so-
Monaghan.
that's it.
Cameron Monaghan, that's it. Yeah. So that's probably a go unless Disney for some reason says no, you can't. Your stories are now too interesting. You can't do it. Because that was
I reckon
doing
it's
some
gonna
that was
come out.
some doing some High Republic stuff. That was the era of like everything's High Republic now. That was the only thing I didn't like about the second Jedi, because I just didn't care about the High Republic. That was my only.
I felt
I've
I
never-
felt-
I haven't played
I don't
Survivor.
know why it needed to be there. I love
It was.
Survivor.
It's
I
just because
love
that was the
Survivor.
new thing, right? Like everything's High Republic, so everything it's like when if you ever play a game
Well,
or like anything that comes out in 2003, it's all prequel coded because that was
Yeah.
just the new
was it
thing.
was it when the High Republic was coming out? Because I know they actually like set the seeds for some High Republic stuff before. Like
I think it's when
Luke.
the comics were out at this point. That's like that's all I know. The comics were out, and then
Yeah,
suddenly
'cause
like you're now getting it in a game.
I know they were already drip feeding stuff like in the Count Dooku like audio drama. They mentioned Keith Trennis, who ends up being the main character of the comics. I think Luke meets one of the main like in one of the comics he meets like the ghost of like one of the High Republic like main characters in the novels. So like they kind of like set it up for quite a while before. I feel like the High Republic. I didn't know anything about it when I played Jedi Survivor. That was like my introduction to it. And looking back now, I actually probably feel I don't dislike it, but I do feel like it's a bit obtrusive. Like I'm not sure how relevant it is to the story, and I feel
It
like
would be
it would have
super
been cool,
relevant
right?
if the
It would be
acolyte was
cool if
successful.
Yeah.
what was
true.
Yeah.
Dagan Gera, is that his name? Who's the villain in that? Who's from the High Republic?
I think
The guy who was frozen. If he would have shown up in like a book or comic, I would have really liked that. And then, obviously, I missed the relevance of when we get the flashbacks and the Nile ships all appear. I had no idea who the fuck the Nile were then, so I was just like, oh,
Yeah,
bad
like
guys.
all of that
But-
didn't work for me because it felt it wasn't set. It was very much like, hey, this is a game set within this universe that you, unless you are a High Republic fan, you just don't know what's going on, and it's
like
never
how-
explained.
It's like how Rogue
Which
Planet
works. It works for the
is-
character because Cal has no idea what's going on either. So you are Cal being like, what the is going on?
It's like how Rogue Planet is directly tied to the Yuuzhan Vong, despite being set right after Episode 1.
You know, a funny fact as well is
actually
that
really confusing.
Greg Bear had no idea he was tying that into the Yuuzhan Vong or NJO. He had no idea.
The
He
entire
didn't
point
know.
of Rogue Planet is to set up for the Yuuzhan Vong. It's just a book about the Yuuzhan Vong,
Yeah.
and it happens to be about child Anakin and Obi-Wan.
I think as well it shows as well that he didn't know. Like
How
it
did
would
he
have
not
probably been a
know
lot
that it
better
was
if, you know,
it was setting up for that? Did they just tell him like, oh, this is a plot point you have
I
to
think
have?
they just.
And
I
he
think
didn't
that's
know
what
why.
happened.
Yeah, and I think
Wow.
they liked some of the stuff that he came up with and thought we'll bring that back in some way. Like Zonima Sekot, I don't think Zonima Sekot was part of the original outline for NJO. Zonima Sekot is like a key part of the ending of NJO. Like it's a key plot point.
Living Planet. Zonoma
But luckily,
Sekot.
you know, yeah, you don't need to read Rogue Planet for NJO though, and I don't recommend anyone to do so.
You do get to see Anakin's first kill, though, which is really cool. So you get to read about it the first time Anakin takes a life, and he does it using Starkiller's Force Repulse power for some reason. So that was sick. Anakin's first kill, he uses Force Repulse and, like, eviscerates the guy almost. So that's
How
the
old was he
most interesting part
during
of Rogue
his-
Planet.
During his first kill.
Is he like 12 or like even younger?
It's like a year after the Phantom Menace.
Damn, that's fast. I was gonna say, is it like actually Kid Anakin? But yeah, it is. Okay.
It's child Anakin.
Yeah, one of the
Yeah.
one of the compelling parts of the book is I like Obi-Wan's sort of like musings on Anakin. Like, you know, when he does, is it that one where he wonders if Anakin is immortal, where he thinks like, could we even kill him? And he
it
starts
is.
to
And
he starts to like, I love his like, he's concerned at how powerful this young boy is. Like he is so powerful, like he doesn't know if he can handle it. Now that's interesting, at least.
That's cool, and them talking about the Potentium. It's close enough to the Phantom Menace that Obi-Wan is still using Qui-Gon's lightsaber. Obi-Wan has not built a new lightsaber, so he's using Qui-Gon's green lightsaber throughout the book.
Yeah.
Anyways, all
you
that's
can
off
see it
point.
on the
What's
awful original cover.
it's not
But
a
yeah,
great
let's move
cover.
on.
What's the next?
Yeah.
Star Wars Eclipse, which is
It's just not
rise
happening, is
very
it?
much on if Quantic Dreams goes under or not, because they are working on. Is it a hero shooter they're doing or whatever
It's
it is?
out, and it's not
make-
doing well, so Quantic
Oh,
Dream might
I
be
didn't even
about-
know it
so
was
it's
out.
not happening. No.
Yeah.
And that's an Old Republic. Not old, but that's a High Republic thing, isn't it?
It
Eclipse,
is.
isn't it? High Republic.
Yeah.
Which
I've been really excited about
I mean,
it.
that was probably semi-cancelled then as soon. I figured it was all tied into if the Acolyte did well, and because it didn't, they were just like, okay, High Republic shelved.
Eclipse
That's
probably
what
would
it
have
feels
been
like at the moment.
such a cool game too, but
yeah. And
whatever.
again, you know what? The Acolyte has ruined so much. The High Republic is an amazing era. There's so many good stories, and the Acolyte has just, soiled it because
It's insane
the reputation now.
how much suffering and struggle had to come about because Leslie Headland's not a good writer. Not to throw out names or anything, but Leslie Headland said she was inspired by Golem for her Plagueis inclusion. And after listening to the Plagueis novel, what?
Yeah, what? I mean, Golem. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Golem. Sorry. Well, Golem was not even intelligent when he was not human, but as a hobbit, you know.
She said she was completely inspired by Golem and Smeagol in how she wanted to include Plagueis in the Acolyte. Her words, bro, not mine. This is not slander. She said
That doesn't what? Okay, I guess
Plagueis
she was doing
is such like
Damask.
I mean, you have to
Damask
remember,
and
right?
Plagueis are like very different people, but it's still
Hagar,
him. Like he's not a split personality, you know.
Hagar Damask is this like refined, like intelligent intellectual. You know, he's a competent businessman. You know, he's wealthy and he's like this really well put together guy that people have like respect for, and enough that like when you think about it. And when he ends up, obviously he dies, and no one ever knew that, you know, he was a Sith Lord. No one ever knew that, which I think is kind of crazy. That no one knows that Hagar Damask was Plagueis. Yeah, I just think that idea of Plagueis isn't there. That's a terrible idea.
I want you guys to think about it. You keep talking about like the Acolytes not performing well has caused all this ripple effect of these other potentially incredible products. And that product was headed by someone who said she was inspired by Smeagol and how to include Darth Plagueis. You just dwell on that.
Presumably she got that idea from reading the book, because you wouldn't know anything about Plagueis otherwise. Has she ever had a character before that's had an alter ego? Because it seems like she's only aware of split personalities happening in this situation where, you know, you got Hagar and you've got Plagueis. Oh, they're so different. How did that happen? It must be like this split personality character.
Okay, see, I think you guys are considering the idea that she was inspired by Smeagol because of the Damask and Plagueis. I think it's literally that his claw comes out and he peeks around a cave. I don't think she knows what Damask is. I don't think she read the book. I think
it's just based off that.
He creeps around.
It's not even that. She looked at the cover and he was like, kind of looks like Gollum, and that was it.
I think that's it. I don't think she knows that Plagueis has the Damask alter ego.
Yeah. That's okay, yeah. Well, that was doomed to fail. And then finally, we got the KOTOR remake, which is the most interesting because, well, as you were saying, with the games, they have the characters on them with Carth and everything, as we mentioned earlier. Or that was in the pre-show. I'm actually not. I can't remember now when we mentioned that.
It does feel like we're getting primed. It feels like people are priming us for a remake announcement, and I hope.
I hope it has went well. Yeah.
I mean, I would be happy for an announcement at this point because it's just been leaks and rumors for 4 or 5 years to the point where it's gone from hype to I don't care to suddenly like just announce something, please.
I will say, I had stopped caring, but the gearing up to something and the change in leadership and all the stuff that was going on, and Maul has made me think, you know what, this could actually, you know, maybe we'll get something pretty good.
Kind of off topic, but since we're pretty sure that Jeremy Soule would not be brought back for the music, I wonder if they would go a completely new and original direction with the score, or if they would try to recreate a bunch of, because it's a remake, right? So you'd think they would remake the original tracks.
LucasArts, I'm sure, own the copyright to those tracks. I doubt Soul got that in his contract, so they can just remake them. And if they remake them to a point where they can just, you know, put his name a little bit in the credits and like trying to ignore it almost, you know.
Yeah. Because I know they
I really hope they. Yeah. I really hope they do it because I use like the KOTOR.
I think we did just lose Gabe, but it's as well. I think what Gabe was getting, what Gabe was saying there is that the KOTOR music is very good, and it would be.
I'm back now, apparently.
Oh, nice.
I got taken out.
We all use the KOTOR music a lot. We love the KOTOR music.
I've applied now that I'm gonna try using future. I can't remember what sound effect it is. It's like there's like a little sound effect in KOTOR I love that I'm gonna start using at the beginning of my videos where like it's like a level up sound or something like that. I can't remember what it is.
I think
like when you go into a new place, but I put that at the beginning of my X-Wing video and it was just perfect. Like I just thought it fits so well.
When's that X-Wing video
if it's the one
out?
Well, like now my progress has been slowed by my uni work, but I'm like 20 minutes through or something like that. I've done the first 3 books, I think. You know what's so difficult right now is I just bought all the X-Wing games, like X-Wing versus TIE Fighter and stuff like that, because Right, it was difficult enough
Those are
to
hardcore.
get but I just want some footage, but it was difficult enough, right, to get something to show. Yes, but there's something so difficult about like to get something entertaining to look at when you went like for the NJO video, but that is nowhere near the difficulty of getting something pleasing to look at while covering the X-Wing books, because oh my god,
Yeah.
there's so little
Your
art and so
difficulty
little
will
to
be
show.
is that about the first 6 hours of of X-Wing or TIE Fighter is just gonna be the tutorial, which is like go escort these ships. Okay, go escort
Yeah.
these ships, and
Well,
something
actually,
might happen.
I booted up, what game was it? What is one of them? And I was in my ship, and then my camera just went, and just started spinning
Oh.
around in circles, and it just didn't
That-
work.
Yeah, that sounds like the mouse acceleration or something got messed up there.
It was X-Wing
That's an era
Alliance,
of
yeah.
Oh, your boot.
that's an era of game where they would design for joysticks, like the old school, like
Yeah.
actual joysticks you'd have on your desk. So they often don't work very well with keyboard and mouse.
You know, I started X-Wing, and it was just I went on like a tutorial mission, and it was fly through 75 hoops. That was like
that's
was like
the
the mission.
infamous one.
Yeah,
And
and
if you miss one, it's like okay, restart. Yeah.
Yeah, I started
that is
that,
the
and I was
infamous one.
thinking like, oh, okay, that's cool, training. And then I was like, wait, there's more. And then wait, there's more. And then I saw at the bottom like 75 remaining or whatever. And then I just quit. But it's really difficult. What I want, right, what would be ideal would be an entertaining to watch game with Starfighter combat. That's what I want in the background. So I can then say happily, right, I've got nothing to show for this
The new
book.
Battlefront 2.
Yeah,
Excuse me,
I'm
Battlefront 2,
considering
or
doing that, yeah.
there was the spin-off
I'm
Space
shit at
Combat
it.
game, which I think is actually discontinued
Squadrons?
now. Squadrons, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that is
Because
that
that
closed
really-
down at this point?
I think it still
I
works.
don't know.
Oh,
I
is
think
it?
you can still play
Because
it, yeah.
that's one of
Because-
those live service games that I feel like, that's what the whole this new initiative that they're trying to push through, isn't it? With like stop live service games from dying, because that's one of those ones that I think that's just gonna be shut down eventually.
Yeah, but
It
considering
wasn't
how
very well received.
but considering how I'm being like a bit swamped by like uni stuff, my plan right now is I would like maybe to like do a video on like Maul and like get a few like smaller things out, and then in the summer I would like to have it come out in the summer is my idea, because it'll be a time when people will want to watch it and they'll have like time off and stuff like that. I want it to release at a good point. I don't want to just put it out when it's done. But yeah, I want something entertaining to look at, because there's like nothing to show for X-Wing. There's like barely any art of the characters or anything that happens.
You just need to get
And
some
there's like the book covers, but
There's 3 Rogue Squadron games, bro. Just run through all 3 of them real quick on an emulator.
and leave it on in the background. Yeah.
I look, when I listened to your new
Well-
your NJO, I listened to it while I worked out in the gym. I don't even know what the
Yeah.
footage of that video looks like.
Yeah. Well, that's, I'm hoping, that's going to be the main thing, is it's more going to be something to listen to. But there's a few people that like to look at stuff, so I need something in the background there. But I'm sort of accepting the fact that it's not going to be too important to have loads of stuff going on the screen. That's not really, because it's about books, People are going to be imagining it anyway, so. But yeah.
Are there any
You
other
could just
games on that list?
Pot up the no, that is actually it. There's the Skydance New Media Star Wars project,
the
which
Amy
was
Hennig one,
headed
yeah.
by Amy Hennig, which we don't really know anything about either. That's essentially could go under like status unknown.
Yeah.
The only other thing I can think to talk about, which I'm going to have a little look for now, is like upcoming books and comics. Comic-wise, it's like loads of tie-in stuff to other things, and loads of re-releases.
Well,
There has been,
Yeah,
there was
because
the
as
recent
we've said,
Maul
they're not
comics,
actually allowed to do anything good. They just
No.
they're not. They can't.
We're getting a few books. We're getting a new. They did like a trilogy. It says it's kind of to do with. It was to advertise with Andor, but it doesn't have a whole lot to do with Andor. It's like political thriller with the Empire and stuff like that. Reign of the Empire, I think it's called. And the first one was really good. We're getting. Well, I've not read it, but I've heard only good things about it. And we're getting a second one of that. That young adult, romance novel is coming at some point. We get a lot of like re-releases, like all the novelizations are getting re-releases. We're getting a new book with Rey and Leia between The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker, which
boy.
we heard that there was going to be a Star Wars novel called Legacy, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, oh my, what are they going to do?" And I remember thinking, "Oh my, my hope was, are they going to go after The Rise of Skywalker?" And even if it was going to be Rey, I was like, "Are we going to like give that to the book people?" Just what we was talking about, and then. Between The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker. And I just thought, yeah, I don't care. And we're getting, I suppose there's the Essential Legends collection, but they seem to be slowing that down right now. It might be ending, but a positive thing, actually, this is something that is interesting for us EU fans. They are releasing unabridged audiobooks of the remaining X-Wing novels outside of the Essential Legends collection. So we know for sure now, going forward, we will continue to get unabridged audiobooks made of EU books, even without the Essential Legends collection, which is really promising. Because there was a worry that when that stopped, which it seems like it might soon, that we wouldn't be getting them. But I think the Random House editorial director.
And then they try and take us out.
That's where we're getting hit. Well, the main
We've
problem
been getting all taken out today.
It's because the first time we've actually talked about Disney canon too much. If we talk about EU stuff, they're like, it's fine. But as soon as we start talking about like the official, no, shut it down.
That's when it starts happening. Well, it has been a little over 2 hours. Do we want to wrap it up? Do we have any final?
I think so.
final
We've
thoughts?
talked about everything, haven't we? Yeah.
Yeah, I think we covered everything that is
coming. I think the
or has.
final thoughts really would be that we're all a little bit more optimistic than we would have been,
since Maul. Yeah, since Maul. Since Philip in charge.
We have a bit more hopeful. So.
Bar the Mandalorian, but that'll be what it'll be.
But I'm okay to just let the Mandalorian pass me by and just let's just get through it. It's like we know we've got to have get through a bad thing and then things will hopefully start to get better.
I agree. All right, the last thing I would say is, are you guys doing anything for May 4th tonight? Oh, it's already nighttime for you, but have you done anything or will you be doing anything for May 4th? Other than that,
I'm gonna be doing this podcast where I talk about Star Wars for about 2-3 hours. I think that's pretty cool.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
It is 10 o'clock. I watched Maul. That's probably enough for me.
That's true. I don't think I have time
to
do anything more.
Yeah, I've got nothing with me right now. That'll be for when I go back home. So yeah, I've got nothing with me right now to do. I've got nothing I can do.
I may or may not watch some of the Phantom Menace. We'll see. But all right. I guess we can wrap it up. Thank you, everybody who tuned in for today's episode where we talk about Star Wars for 3 hours or however long it's been. Next episode, I guess we can go ahead and say, I think we already said what it's going to be. It's going to be Dark Forces 2.
Dark Forces 2, yeah.
It's been a while since we did our episode on Dark Forces, which I'm wearing the Dark Forces shirt. Dark Forces 1 Dark Trooper. So next episode of Starcasters, we're going to break down and talk about Star Wars Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2. I'm excited about it. I love that game. And we'll see where the IP goes from here. Thank you again, everybody, for tuning in. Kaisis Nelson, if you're still here, thank you again for the $10 donation. Much appreciated. Very generous. And I think that's it. I think that's all I got. Anything else, guys?
Yeah.
Where'd I get the Dark Trooper shirt? I got it from a website called jinx.com. They are now out of business. So this is... I really shouldn't be wearing it because you can't get them anymore.
One of one.
Well, no, there were a bunch of them, but that company went defunct, I believe, in 2021 or 2022. I was a big fan of their stuff. I've been buying their merch for over, got to be close to 20 years. So, but jinx.com. You might be able to find one on eBay, but good luck. All right, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thanks for watching.
We will see you some other time. I don't know. I don't have a good outro. TheorySabers.com. Code Evan Prince.